Just started it. Give me like
Okay,
one
yeah,
quick
yeah.
second to pull
Okay,
it up.
yeah, no worries.
All right.
Give me 1 sec, Mills.
All right. All right. Y'all are good? Or still some-
Almost.
Got an energy drink. Let's go.
And how much time you guys got?
I got to
I
whatever.
have a time. My
and how
scrims
much time
just
you guys
ended,
got?
so I have time. And I played
okay.
rank game and it was bad.
What's
I
new?
was really trying to win that one and I lost it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Nice.
I always try to win ranked.
Beast.
You might be the only fucking person because everyone else is throwing. Clear comms. This is like a pre 8.5 pro pod. All right, cool. So let me know when y'all are ready. No rush.
Yeah, I'm almost done. Just getting everything set up on my stream.
This is like a. I've been interacting with you a lot on Twitter. I see a lot of your posts. Trust me, it's fun. It's fun on Twitter, seeing
On
everything you
Twitter?
post. Yeah.
Oh, the Moxie post. The Moxie post.
Oh yeah,
That
that was
one is
good.
good.
Too. Yeah. That was good.
Yeah, but I also need more posts as well. I need better posts as well. More motivational.
Oh, I got you, bro. I'm like the king of Twitter rage bait.
Yeah, you are the king.
Yeah,
of
bro,
I already said that, right?
there's a tweet I'm gonna pull up mid pod for you to react to, like, because it's hilarious.
No, bro.
There's
It's
so
like
much-
Penny one?
No.
All you have to
It's
do
not.
for Twitter is you have to like find a clip of something that's like obviously absurd, but there's like an intelligence check that the Twitter community doesn't reach, so they don't actually understand like the context of like what the clip is actually saying, and they interpret it in the wrong way, and then they freak out. And yeah,
Nice, good shit.
that's basically the tech.
I like the pro tank anti DPS tweets they always bang. It's so good. It's so free. It's so free. Just farming DPS players.
I can hear your PC fan. I'm not sure if that's Mills or it's
Nah,
not bad.
probably mine.
It's not
It's
too
probably
bad
trust.
though.
I
but-
can fix it in post. It shouldn't be too
Yeah.
bad.
It's probably mine. I bought a new PC, that's why.
All right, no worries.
No problem.
All right, I'm ready to go.
All right, let's do it. Everyone else good? Let's get it. What's up, guys, and welcome to a brand new Clear Comms episode. Today, we're joined by first returning guest, Pro Player Light. What's up, bro?
Chilling, bro. Thanks for bringing me on again. Always a pleasure.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to talk about Jean Grey with you. It's going to be really, really
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely one of our most requested guests
Yeah,
throughout
for sure. Every
looking
time.
through the episodes.
And now joining us for the first time, Pro Player, Rivals Champion, Tank Main. Trust me. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Hello.
Yeah.
Here to discuss a little bit about the game that I love, right?
Yeah. He's here to talk about how Rivals is perfectly balanced and there's nothing wrong with it. Let's
We
go.
love Devil Dinosaur.
Yeah.
That right,
we'll
Trust.
definitely get to that. Well, I guess in light of that, then I guess where we can start is last week. We didn't have any pros on. Had more of a content creator group where we talked about our thoughts on the pro scene and what it would need to really flourish and what direction maybe it would need to go in for the average person to want to watch it. So I was going to send it over to you guys, and you tell me, like, what direction do you think the pro scene needs? And one of the things we brought up was a lot of like the most successful esports were grassroots type movements where it was a lot of the community that had like more input in the direction of the actual rule sets of the games, the bans. So I know, trust me, you had a tweet recently where you talked about a custom game mode. I'm just going to leave it open. What do you think the direction of the Rivals esports scene needs, or is it going in the right direction? We'll start with you, trust me, I guess.
I mean, for me, there was like multiple things that we need to put separately, right? Like you said something about custom games, and at the same time you said something about esport. I do think things need to be treated separately. Having the main game be more popular is a very good way to get more people to watch esports. The more, I mean, you can bring in like 100,000 people to the game, and now 10,000 of them will watch esports. That already is way more than you had before if you don't bring these people in. And having custom games, and creating content with that, making hide and seek or geoguessr content in Marvel Rivals or anything that you can like create in the custom games, 6 versus 3 with goals, and they have like twice the stats or something, and stuff like that, funny stuff that people have in other games that would be something to attract more people to the game. But when it comes to esports, there's a different perspective you can have. I don't really think one thing that is a problem for me is if the gameplay loop of the professional play is very similar to the gameplay loop of a casual. So if you watch it for the first time and you see 30 seconds, the gameplay looks exactly the same as your own gameplay. That makes pro play less attractive. And there are some heroes that will force that, and also there's not really a lot of like analytic effort when it comes to the professional scene, so people will be more confused about what they will see, so it doesn't really look like there's a lot of like great plays in it right now.
So would you say that's more of a result of just the way the game is kind of balanced, or is it like a lack of okay, so there's been like a lot of complaints about Dino, for instance, because he kind of dumbs down the game, creates just like a brain.
Of it, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm kind of where I'm getting at is the game's balance a hindrance to the viewability of the esport? Would you say?
I mean, it goes back to what I said, right? The problem with Dino is very simple. You have a character that gameplay loops is very similar to the people that play in lower rank. There's not really much of a difference you can make because the character is very big and very chunky, and you can't really like go deep or anything. Everything is related to your backline in some sense and connection wise. Like you can go up in the right moment, but if your backline doesn't walk up in that time window, now the timing to walk up is suddenly bad. So the experience you have on Dino usually isn't the greatest if you play for longer than like 1 hour a week. If you play like most of us professionals, we play 8 hours a day, and in a Dino mirror where it is not really up to you when to walk up and you're mostly getting shot by Punisher and Moon Knight, it is not a very good experience as of right now because you don't really have a lot of counterplay. The hero is so strong that he still needs to be played, which makes it very frustrating to play right now.
So would you say that one of the problems with the character is the lack of skill expression throughout his kit and the like the value of his skill floor is what you're saying? So like even when played at his base floor, he's getting like unbelievable value. It'd be like if Squirrel Girl for some reason was so powerful that you see play in pro play, and then she's like dominating in low levels too, or like Penny, just like hypotheticals like this. Like,
yeah. It's like the problem is also that you don't have other choices. Like if you say something about DPS or Squirrel Girl, in example, there's always the choice to flank and go behind. You don't have that on Dino. You have to play main. There is no other solution. If you flank on Dino, you are making a misplay because any other tank can take a flank better than you on Dino. So like the gameplay loop will consistently be you stay in main. You have to rely that, like let's say the enemy plays like a hybrid Dino dive comp and they dive your backline. If your backline doesn't clear the hit well, you cannot walk up. And then you're stuck never walking up eventually. And when you do walk up, you end up dying for it, even though theoretically your backline should have cleared the hit sooner. Right. So the gameplay loop of the hero is just not nice to play.
So how do you reconcile this? So like one of the problems, I think one of the reasons that a lot of casual players are kind of really hating on pros right now or like rejecting like pro mentality is because like in their mind they just want to play like the cool heroes, right? Like they don't care about the pro scene all that much. And so like what would you say to those people when they say we just want to play Dino, we just want to have fun, we don't care about y'all's gameplay loop in the pro level? Like is there a way that they can win and you can win? Is there a way that everyone can win? Or is it just one of those things where, we could make Dino way weaker and he would still be played in low elo? What do you think?
That is the hardest thing. For me, it is kind of the way the game is designed. I kind of like, I don't know how allowed it is to talk about Overwatch in this podcast, But
You can talk about whatever you want.
okay,
I
okay.
actually looked on your YouTube. I saw that you used to do Overwatch. Diva
Yeah,
to
I
GM.
was one of the best Overwatch players in the European region, right?
Oh,
And
nice.
I played it for many years in top 500 and in competition as well. My problem was when Brick was released, the hero worked similar to White Fox. The reason it was released was because casuals can't handle dive. In Overwatch, dive has been perma meta, and at least in the beginning of the game, and in Rivals, it's the same. Dive is a heavy meta, and this is like a leading issue that will happen with weaker rated players. Like, there's something called a skill gap to some extent. Like, if you look at like Marvel Rival Championships teams that are like, let's say, the Celestial teams, right? They will have a harder time killing triple support than a top 500 team because they are more connected to the hit. They focus the same target. They have better aim, so they will miss less shots. So the window of time to kill triple support and the amount of error there will be, because if you don't kill it, they will have free support ults, right? If you kill them faster, they will not have many free support ults, and then you have a way less room of error against that. So by having that all combined, dive is way stronger than it isn't, right? But because of the way it is unstructured and ranked, because of the way no one communicates, because everyone plays slightly worse, because nothing is timed well, now it feels like against these dive characters, you still need that White Fox hero to sustain yourself because it is still too strong. So now you have like a problem where it keeps being divided, where dive will be strong for all the pros, but it will be very weak in ranked. So you keep adding these kind of disconnections to the game, which will lead you in this gameplay loop of triple support in a way. You know what I mean? Yeah, I need to structure it maybe better. I'll
No,
think about it for
I
a
think I
second.
understand what you're saying. But I guess what I wonder is where's the solution in that? Like, how do you like that? I feel like that gap's only going to get wider, and like those problems are
Yeah.
only going to get more severe, especially as the pro scene the pro scene's still new. Like the gap between like like late stage Overwatch, the gap between a pro player and like a really high ranked top 500 player was like massive by the end of that game, and it seems like that gap keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year or every month even. Like the gap gets larger, and like the ranked experience is so much disconnected from the pro experience, and it's gonna keep being that way. But like when people struggle against something, it's hard to say, well, with coordination and pro play, we actually deal with that super easily. This is actually not a problem for us. It's like, where's that disconnect feels really hard to get people to agree to. Do you see what I'm saying?
I understand 100% what you mean, but I do think we're getting a little bit disconnected because from the original question, you said something about Dino. And I
Right.
do think what you would have to start in making Dino more accessible is like giving him a better utility that feels like a higher skill ceiling. Like it can be anything. It can be like a bubble across the map instead of like bubble on him. You know, it can be like similar to how Deadpool works. Reduce a little bit of the size, or like maybe make the grab interact in a different way, and like give it more of a gun in a way, or make it the beam a little bit smaller size, like way smaller size instead of like a large beam. But then again, you're kind of breaking apart that logic of like the coolness of the hero, right? So it is very hard to balance, and unfortunately, right now I don't really see a way. At least in the 10 minutes now that I think about it, I will have to think more about what an actual change could look like that I would want,
Light
other than
does
just say I want a rework, right?
Yeah, Light, does increasing the skill expression of the game help dive more or hurt it more, would you
I
say?
think it helps the game in general. Like, we should always aim to have the hardest heroes in the game to play be the strongest because it makes the game more skill expressive and rewarding to play. Like characters like, as much as I hate her, like Hela, Jean, Star-Lord, Psylocke, Daredevil, Black Cat, like these characters that are very difficult to play should always be strongest, and characters like Moira, Cloak and Dagger, Rocket should be weaker. And the whole gap that you guys are talking about between Devil Dino and like the discrepancy between the opinion between pro play and like casual fun, you could still capture a hero's identity in fantasy while also making it healthy for the game. Like Dino is this issue where he's just like Maga, where he's just this big sack of meat that just exists and you can't move him because his stats are too high. But if you lower his numbers too much, he becomes unplayable, worthless trash. And if you're playing the Dino, you don't do anything besides you just sit there and you exist, and the enemy team can't do anything. He's like the most passive value tank in the game, where you just being there to where anyone comes in your zone at all, they're grabbed, they're bubbled off from their heals, flyers are grounded by the beam, and you can't interact with the character whatsoever. And being the Dino player means you're just sitting there taking it. Like, you just can't do anything. You're just sitting there waiting for someone to make a mistake, or to push into you, or for them to pick guns and shoot you when you die. It's not fun to play. It's really cool, like if an 8-year-old logs on and they're a big red dinosaur, and you know,
Yeah,
like none of that I just said even
yeah.
matters because everyone is terrible. But as you go up, the character becomes more and more problematic. So it kind of reminds me of like Black Panther in a sense of like, you have a really, really unique character, but the way that they're designed is so toxic depending on where you play at. And they should start approaching these heroes with it in mind of like, how can we make these characters more rewarding, with it being more interactive to play as and play against. So like I like what Trust Me was saying about like different changes that you could do to Dino, and I'm not exactly sure myself of how you could make him more interactive and like not just playing against him but playing as him, where like I'm not just full AFK waiting for someone to do something, or I'm not just waiting to just get shot and die. But definitely the hero, I think, will going in the future will be a problematic character similar to Panther, or to, I don't know, like what's another toxic character? I wouldn't say Blade. Blade is just shit.
I mean,
Like Penny,
I think
probably.
Penny,
maybe.
Penny. Yeah, like characters like that. I think he'll fall into that category. It's just his numbers are so good right now that he's like allowed to be where he is. But I hate playing against Dino. It's so boring. I just pick Punisher instantly.
Yeah.
No, I was joking.
Yeah.
I actually don't like playing him either.
It kind of feels like the mirror is like playing the mirror. I know, Trust Me, you've talked about this a lot, but the mirror feels extremely boring, and especially in ranked, it's super team reliant. Like, if your team doesn't have a Dino threat or like the ability to kill a Dino that you grab, like, you'll never win that grab trade, and it just feels like you're just standing there. Like, you can't go in, you can't be aggressive, you can't grab him. Like, if your DPS is like Spider-Man, like I don't fucking know, like just two flankers, like you're never killing the Dino.
If they just have better front to back than you in ranked, you just lose. Like, it's just that simple. If
it also shifts sometimes. Like, many people, everyone has different opinion. No? Many people say you have to grab the enemy Dino first, you know, and some people say you have to grab second. You guys would probably think grabbing second is better, right?
I mean, if you could kill him, but if he feels like you can't.
The reality is, grabbing first is actually better because you can CC chain stun him with like Lunar Freeze, canceling his shift, and now he's out of position.
Body block.
The problem is that doesn't happen in rank, so now you're in the same problem where it's fully team reliant hero, and that is just the entire issue with the hero. Like, there's just no way to fix
individual
that,
agency.
Right now.
It's like, it kind of reminds me, Trust Me, of Wolf matchups. Like, it's a more volatile matchup of Wolf. Because there's like this kind of like footsie game that you play with each other, kind of like a fighting game, and whoever gets the grab first typically wins. But Dinos is so much more like, if you get grabbed and you have the characters on your team to follow up on it, you die. Like, if you're grabbed, you're Imma walled, or Imma grabbed, or group big walled, Luna, like you said, a Wolf, just like we like to play Groot Dino, and then we just big wall the Dino, grab him, and then I tackle him right afterwards. He just takes 800 damage and dies.
Yeah.
Because he still has like that micro stun that you do on things. So yeah.
So we're saying then that Dinos should not be allowed to be good in the highest levels of play until they raise his skill expression. Is that kind of the general idea here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So then I got two-part question. Is there any type of hero that could be introduced that's not already in the game that would challenge Dino and create like a system of counters to where he wouldn't just be a hard meta character? I know a lot of people like talking about triple DPS. I've heard like triple healer Mantis, and you just like farm headshots on him as a really good counter to him.
Any character with a gun, to be honest. Like, any character that has a gun and doesn't have to go near him will be good. It's like the same thing with Maga.
My problem is still the same. The problem is the understanding, even from the developers, is too low in the game. As hard as it sounds, it's also I have a lot to rant about. I think the general understanding and the and the analysis of many people about what is good in the game, why something works, why something doesn't work, what counter swapping even is, what main and off tank even is, because everyone always says, oh, you main tank player or off tank player. No one knows how to define it. You know, like the general knowledge level of the game is so unbelievably low because the game is utterly complex, but there's so much things to worry about that like those really analytic and deep thoughts don't come to play. So now the entire issue will be many people don't know how to structure anything around any composition, and they will literally just play the game. So it goes back into this casual scene where now you need to take away, if you take away all of the dino's value, now you remove the idea from the casuals that the game will be fun. Right? So for me, like, a problem is we keep on adding these super overpowered characters instead of actually resetting the game to a state that isn't high mobility, that has longer cooldowns, has less dopamine in the sense, maybe give less healing, give supports more damage instead of healing, and have like a structure around that, because that would be a step back towards a state where it's not a high utility game anymore, and maybe that would be more healthy, but I'm not sure.
You said less dopamine. You know, NetEase used to make phone games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Totally different.
Count the exit.
I think.
But I see.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you can go.
No, I was gonna say I think that you can still have like the max dopamine, but I think people don't actually like. When people talk about balance of the game, I don't think a lot of people think about the fact that in low elo or like in like a very casual sense, like every character is viable and good. It doesn't really matter. The harder heroes are obviously going to get less value because like they take time and commitment in order to be better at. But like, why does someone's opinion about Devil Dino, like casual, like I want to get on and play the big red dinosaur, why does that matter more than the person who wants to get on and play Blade? Like, Blade is terrible, has always been terrible, but there are still people to this day who log on and play Blade because they love Blade as their favorite superhero, and that's great. Congratulations, right? But no one's ever talking about Blade in the sense of like, oh, well, pro players just hate the fun of the game, blah, 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 and like all this conversation or whatever, right? Like, pros are only complaining about Dino because his kit is super, super toxic the higher you go up, and you can nerf Dino and have it not be in pro play without it ruining a casual person experience because every fucking character is good in a casual experience. All of them. You can play whatever you want.
I'm gonna play a little bit of I forgot what the term is, but I'm gonna argue for the casuals a little bit because
You're gonna play Devil Dino Advocate.
Yeah. Oh, there. That's what I was.
That was it.
All right. Because the problem is mostly just when something is brand new. I feel like pros are the first ones to figure it out, right? Like something's brand new, something just came out. Pros, y'all play a lot. Like we're content creators, we play a lot too. You figure out the broken shit. Like Light knew that Black Cat was busted like before the character came out.
I'll never
like,
say
yeah,
it. That
but he knew that shit already, right?
You need to buff
and
it
so
immediately.
when like pros are all tweeting and like making videos and like going crazy about like we need this character should have never been related, nerf this character. And like someone came, 9 to 5, they're coming home, they're like, "Ooh, I want to play Dino," and then like all they see is like, "Fuck this character, this character's terrible," and like that's the disconnect. And I think that we'll run into this problem a lot where like Rivals is going to continuously have this identity crisis between like, this is a casual game just meant to have fun, but like there's actually ways to take this game to like a much deeper level, like y'all both do, as pros. So like that's kind of the problem that you're always going to fight, and I really just don't think there's going to be a perfect solution here. But that's what I'll argue is just like Blade. I think that over time the voices that were mad about Blade kind of quelled. But like when a new character comes out, that's when the voices are going to be strongest because people want to try the new thing. That's my Devil's Dino.
I want to say something about that because for me, we're talking about an actual competitive environment game, right? There's nothing to say. I mean, you can judge Marvel Rivals and say it's more of a casual game, but any game in the world, anything that is multiplayer will have competitiveness to it to some extent. Even the casual who plays only 1 hour a week, if he does that for 20 weeks in a row, he will develop a habit where he wants to push himself to a new limit because there is new dopamine to reach in the game he actually enjoys. People will say they don't care about rank, but the same people will be the people that flame, that will be the people that like maybe care a little bit too much about rank, hate on the people that throw games, all of the stuff that will ruin their experience. If they truly wouldn't care, then it wouldn't be that big of an issue. But it is. you know. So it is wrong to say even the casuals, that is not a real thing. They will play for 20 hours in the season and suddenly they're not casual anymore, and then they will actually see character flaws as well. If you give them time right now, and many people have spent time now and will now see things differently than they saw in the first week. Now it's a different case. The problem is with Rivals, with new characters coming out, there is no time to experiment and there's no time to develop those feelings, which is also why for a lot of players Daredevil is insanely broken, but for the Marvel Rival developers that's not a big thing, because most of the people that play the game cannot get to that state to realize how broken that is, because there's already something new out that will be also broken.
Yeah.
So we cannot really like get the casuals to understand that state, and it will be the same thing with Devil Dinosaur. Cyclops will come out and all that was broken about Devil Dinosaur will be postponed. We saw it in Gambit, right? five months of Gambit being utterly broken
That's a great
because
point.
Watch, he's
people
gonna have like
in
a
lower
one
ranked
shot, like a
don't
beam
play
one
it
shot.
because it's banned.
More like
the-
I'm pretty sure it's 7 now. Trust me, brother. Like I think
Or,
I could double check.
yeah, I
actually.
mean, give it anything, right?
Yeah, like when did Gambit come out? It's season 5, right?
You ever play Smite? I know this is a random pull. There's like a
played it.
beam ultimate. You know the beam ultimate from Raw, like just a straight like beam
Bebop?
through the oh yeah, kind of. But like imagine like all at once, like an instant damage, like massive beam.
All
like,
right.
huge
Okay, it's been 6
damage.
months. Trust me, let's check. 6 months of Gambit being the best hero in the game. W Netties.
Right.
Warner Blizzard Arc.
But and the problem that you're talking about is also like has always been true about Hitscan. Like no one above no one underneath Celestial has ever understood why Hela is so strong. Like really.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Hela's strong right now. I'm just saying like it from season like 0 through 4, Hela was insane. Jean Grey's insane now. No one understood those things because only the top 1% of players are even able to play that character at a reasonable enough level to counter like the random magics and Iron Fists in your back line. Like, I mean, straight up. Like, that
Yeah.
always happens.
It's been a while since I've ranted about this. Trust me, I remember watching a clip or something about you talking about like the movement creep in this game, and I really, really liked how you put it. And this kind of ties in to what I'm about to say about Hela. But like fundamentally, the hit scans in this game are poorly designed, more specifically Hela and Jean, because you have a ranged character that has a stun and an instant teleport or iframe, like get off me tool, right? And in like every other hero shooter, the ranged hit scan character, because they have advantage like that, like the safety of being able to sit in the back of their team, 0 risk, unlike a melee character, and do damage and get kills, they should be vulnerable when you close the gap. But it's not like that in Rivals up until Daredevil and Black Cat and the addition of like tank pool, dive tanks being better, Angela. Like they've added characters that have kind of remedied this issue. But when the game first came out, Hela was uncontestable Demon Lord, because you can't play Star-Lord into it. All the dive tanks were terrible. Hawkeye still had his one shot. You had the Punisher rocket, like super spam, infinite ammo thing, and like all the ranged characters dominated at every single range. So why would you not just pick the gun? It's kind of similar to like why Iron Fist is a terrible character compared to Punisher most of the time. Iron Fist has to take risk. He has to get into melee range, and when he uses his block, he has a burst of high sustained damage per second. Punisher has the same damage per second, but in the safety of his team. Now, you can actually dive Punisher, unlike Hela or Jean, but back in the day, like, these options didn't exist. Like, there was no DD, there was no Black Cat, there was none of this stuff, so it was, like, really, really, really frustrating and problematic to play against, and Celestial player, or, like a lot of people on Twitter don't understand that, like, in Overwatch, Sojourn doesn't have a stun. She has high mobility, she has a hit scan one-shot, but she doesn't have a stun, thank God. Black Widow, super vulnerable character, but when you got to close range, she doesn't have a fucking kick that can hit you in 360 and one-shot you. Like, Black Widow's obviously a terrible character, but her kick, everyone can agree, the kick is horribly designed, should
Yeah,
never
it's
exist on a sniper, ever.
It's kind of interesting though what you brought up, where like they have remedied that problem through new heroes.
Yeah.
I think that will always be NetEase's philosophy. Like they've kind of shown us that they are not willing to reel back the power level of a character. Like I don't think we'll ever see Hela lose her stun and get reworked. Or
But
Jean
Hela's,
lose
I
her stun or
guarantee you,
teleport.
bro, I guarantee you that Hela will be power crept soon. Like,
I would
1,000%.
say-
No, I agree with you, but all I'm saying is that I'm not saying that they should do this. I'm just saying that NetEase just wants to do more. Like they want their next character to do the better thing, not take old characters and make them worse. They like the next. Instead of nerfing Black Cat as an example, the next support is gonna have some like iframe, stun, cancel, like, and then there's gonna be another dive tank that has a cancel to that. Like they keep one upping.
Yeah.
Like, that's
I
their,
want,
that's
yeah,
their solution.
that's kind of where I wanted to actually go with it. Is there a world where this type of style of balancing the game like works? Because trust me, you said the patch cycle comes so quickly. I always like to use this example: Super Smash Bros. Melee. Obviously, Nintendo just goes on to their next Smash Bros. Game, and Melee's just been sitting there now for over 20 years. And even almost 20 years into the game's lifespan, it was more about 10 or 15. The meta still changes. Of course, I'm referring to a character known as Amsa, who made like Yoshi. He won major tournaments with Yoshi, which at the time was considered like 21st on the tier list out of 26 characters or something. And then characters like Pikachu with Axe and stuff. There's people who find ways to win on heroes. Does Rivals have that level of depth to where we could benefit from slower patch cycles, or do you think the game's mostly figured out? And do you think this quick balancing, is there any way it works out in the future for the game?
I need to make myself a quick list about what I all want to talk about. I want to talk about the point before. What was it again? It was like the movement creep. I'll write it down real quick.
Yeah.
Movement creep and current. What was it? Current level of metas or something?
Oh, patch cycles?
Patch cycles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's multiple things to be said here, and a lot of things are very important. First, we will start with the patch cycle thing. The thing with like a lot of titles, like say Counter-Strike, Smash Bros. Melee even, right? If we want to use that as an example, Valorant, all of these games, there isn't as much content to the characters, so the like people, like not even the pros, because you said it yourself, right? The pros figure it out the fastest. Now there isn't as much time because there's new content added to the game, so there isn't as much time to figure out new metas with what you have in the moment, right? So even when Hela was hard meta for the pros, there wasn't as much time to figure out how to counter it because there was not options you had now that you haven't then, right? So it changes with that dynamic, and with everything that comes out, metas will change more quickly than they do now, and especially for the lower rated players. Because why would they worry about Hela now when it's literally unplayable, when everyone tells you it's unplayable? So when it goes back to what we had with slower movement on the map, no one will know how to play Hela, so you will invest that time again, right? You have to consistently invest time, and the casuals have take longer time to understand stuff. So now you have more people that will not understand the game every single season and will not understand metas every single season. So when that is the thing, they will have wrong takes about the game that will maybe lead to wrong results when it comes to actual balancing ideas around the thing.
Are
And
you
they will
saying-
suggest it to netties. And it's the same with NetEase workers. All of them are trash at the game. I have to say it. I was there in China, and most of them don't know how to play the game.
Okay.
And it's okay.
So wait,
it's not their
so
fault.
you're
It's
saying
not
there's
their
a
job.
trick. You're saying there's a trickle down of information, right? From the pro play to the high rank to the mid rank to the low rank.
Sounds like he's saying
And
the
then-
player base is getting
And-
worse.
but because
No,
that
no.
trickle
No?
down takes so long and there's new patch cycles, they're constantly behind on the knowledge. Right?
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
They're falling
I'll
further
get to-
behind.
No, they're not falling behind. Because
Okay.
falling behind is connected to how fast you can catch up. With the resources that are there, unfortunately, there's not enough. As I said, the casters are not good enough. As hard as it sounds, they don't know enough about the game. They're not deeply analytic about it. So the people that watch esport will not watch it to catch up because it doesn't lead to them being able to catch up because they can't relate and understand. Right? So the analytical value from it is too low for them to understand. So, and that is the case everywhere in the game. There is not enough knowledge in the game from people to share to get value from it. So that doesn't mean the player base gets worse. That just means it will always be a new season where they will stagnate with their current knowledge and they will only learn what the current season will teach them, even though there is way deeper analysis to the game, which is the actual cooldowns and what the actual value of the game is and what you play as of right now and why what is being played. Many people will not be able to share their thoughts on that because they're so focused on learning new stuff at the time, right? Because look at it from the perspective. If you're a casual, you have 1 hour a week to play, or like let's say 3. every single pro player tells you you need to be able to play every hero because things can be banned out, and when you're banned out, you can't be handless, and you need to pick the right hero in the right situation. And the casual doesn't have time on those heroes, and he cannot invest that time because he doesn't have enough time. So you will be forced to learn only one hero, and then you will naturally fall behind. But there's also a way to catch up, but you can only do so at a time. So you will never be able to like fully break that barrier if you don't invest outside of knowledge. You know, if you have to invest more into other knowledge. But that's hard. You know, it's not easy because it's not fun. That's the problem. It's not engaging for the casual. You know, it's not nice to hear as a casual. You have to learn 13 heroes if you want to make it fun, Marvel Rivals.
Would that are you arguing in favor of maybe slower patch cycles so that gap would be less, or do you just think this is a problem that was going to happen no matter what they do?
It's hard to say.
Can I say something? Like, to me, it doesn't really seem like the fast patch cycle benefits anyone other than netties. Really, it's kind of, and maybe people who are just like want to come back to the game, play for a couple of days. It doesn't really seem to benefit the people who actually care a lot about the game, or at least the game quality.
Constantly new stuff is probably. I mean, that's more for casuals, right? Just want constantly new stuff. I mean, pros like it too, within reason. So, like, I want to ask this to Light, and trust me, I remember. Because you know, I covered Overwatch, and some of my knowledge is a little jumbled, but basically, like, the core thing was that pro teams liked it when the meta didn't shift all that much because they got very used to a certain strategy, certain characters being good. When the meta shifted a lot, it was a lot more work. They had to put a lot more scrim hours in. They had to practice new metas, and I know that that's a very different experience from Rivals. But how do y'all feel? Do y'all feel like it's actually more work in Rivals to constantly adapt to new metas, or do you think that that's just kind of par for the course? You know, like, what do you think?
Like
This is oh wait, Light can say something about that if he wants.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think like I actually prefer faster patch cycles. I think if this game, like, especially with how little their balance changes are, like we had like 10 patches in a row of Blade getting 1 damage to his sword. Like the changes that they make are just like so minuscule most of the time. It's very, very rare that we actually get a change that meaningfully impacts a character in the meta. Like Elsa's, it took her like 4 patches to be reined in. Tank pool, it took like 2 or 3, I think. Like his most recent changes actually mattered. But a lot of the time, they just tweak the dial by 5%. And like Sue, like the last patch was Sue. Like Sue is not as strong now because people just pick Rocket and one-shot you through the ult. And like a variety of other reasons. But like 5 damage away from her pull or her push, like she could have not gotten changed at all, and she would still be in the same exact state that she's in right now. So I think if they're going to do like basically nothing in their patches, having them as consistent as they are is very nice, and it makes playing the game less stale. But maybe that's for me because I play this game like literally every day. So like, I don't know, maybe my opinion's different on that. Trust me, I think that you play every day as well. So like, but that's just how I feel. The game feels stale towards the end of the season, and I just like, I like things to change.
I might be thinking mostly about Valorant, because I do remember how Valorant, like, certain teams were dominant under certain patches on Valorant, and then when the meta changed, certain players and teams had to completely change up what they were good at. Because like people only got good at like 2 or 3 characters, as opposed to like in Rivals, like you can't just be a 2-trick or a 3-trick. It's like impossible. Yeah, like the meta changes too much. The characters that get banned.
The final thing I wanted to say about it was like the solution is, if you want to have the best of both worlds, if you tell your players, like before Ignite, this is the patch that you'll be on. You'll be on the 7.5 patch, for example. This character won't be in the game. This will be the patch for it, and this will go on until X date. Now, the problem with that is that playing ranked now becomes worthless for the pro players because it's a different game, basically.
It's also kind of hard to connect for the casual player as well.
There's always going to be issues with both ways, but I really, really would prefer the game to be constantly updating, because that is also better for casual players as well. Like if we slowed the patch cycle down to every 2 months or something, and then I pull up the patch notes like we do every month, like it's Christmas morning, and I read through the changes, I see no nerfs to Jean Grey, no nerfs to Gambit, I see Blade's 1 damage on his sword, and I know I have to wait 2 months before something else. It's just going to make the game horrible, and like no one will play.
But maybe they would
So,
be better patches too. though.
No, I will say something. The problem is the root issue. The root issue is that they don't know how to make a better patch because they don't have enough experience with the game. Like
Yeah, I
even the
agree.
developers, right? You just said it yourself, right? You want these changes, but the question is always, what would that lead you in? Because that would open up a meta that would maybe feel more toxic to play in than you originally anticipated and thought of, right? Because who wants to play into Iron Fist or like Mr. Fantastic the entire time? I'm telling you, there's not a lot of people who want that gameplay loop. And
Trust
that's
me.
the reality of thing. So the developers have such a hard time figuring it out. And this is unfortunately a thing with Marvel Rivals, which is a problem in pro play as well, as we come back to it. Because as you said, even in pro play, if you say we played this patch, right, we have to learn everything about this patch. 50% of the matches are decided in the ban phase and in what you pick at the time because of the resources you have at your disposal, and you cannot spend time on figuring out how to enable your comp because it's easier to think, okay, I'm just counter swapping the enemy comp at the time. Because this game is not a skill expressive game to the point where you play the exact same mirror matchup as the enemy is. It's not like we play Brick Winston or Goats versus Goats in Overwatch, you know, against Goats versus Goats. They also play Goats. We play the same thing. So now we talk about how do we enable it, who gets the bubble, what do we have to use Graph for, what do you have to use Trank for, who gets the Zen Orb. That is not a thing in pro play and Rivals. Because it's easier to say we just avoid that step and we go one step further and say, okay, they play this comp, we just counter swap it and we ban it out. So they're just handless.
So one thing I'll say, trust me, because I think that here, how do I put this? I think that if the devs really cared about balancing it in a way that matters, they would just ask y'all. Like my argument is that it's not that they don't know, it's that they don't care to balance around pro plays. Like that's and I literally just think that if they actually wanted to balance it around pro play, they would literally just consult y'all. They would just consult the teams. Like there's tons of esports that have done that in the past. Because like I think at this point, everyone can agree that Gambit has been very overtuned, especially his ult, has been extremely powerful for way too long. They have to know that that's how every single player in high elo and in pro play feels, right? They have to know that. It's not that they're not it's not like they can't figure it out. They know, they just don't care.
Yeah, bro,
that's my problem. Is
there's legit like no like logic or reasoning behind the decisions that they make around the balance team, bro. Like
it's not really that. It's more like a trust issue itself. Because the problem is you go to 5 pros and 5 pros will have a different opinion about what meta is in the game. The same way that you go to any dogshit coach in the game, like let's say like any MRC coach, you know, that wins like a console Australian MRC and praises himself for winning, having tournament earnings for like 1K on his Liquidpedia page. That dogshit coach will not be able.
This sounds oddly personal.
That sounds super personal, bro.
No. I'm just like using. I'm just exaggerating the point.
What's wrong with being Australian?
The point is that coach will not be able to tell you in a detailed way on what the meta is because he plays a different game. Because every single team plays a different game. Every team has their own niche ways of enabling stuff. I watched 100 Thieves this season lose to Iron Man. A character, everyone got it. Every single pro got it. How did they lose? Because they didn't have the hero pool required to beat it. And then we go back to the 50-50 skill gap, where it's a counter swap season. Now, they abused 100 Thieves' weakness, which is the fact that they didn't play Tank Pool Dino at the time, because it's the best to counter Iron Man. Why they didn't play it, no one knows. They know now. I guarantee you, if they boot up the game, that will not happen again. Okay, so the meta keeps on developing. What was good 1 week ago will not be good in the next week. And it's the same for the casuals. And unfortunately, it's also the same for the patch notes for the Chinese. And it's the same for every pro. So if you ask the pro now, the pro will say something completely different in a week. So the Chinese, or like the developers in this case, cannot trust the people as well.
Yeah.
So
that is like the problem. And they also can't trust their own opinion.
I have a question for you, trust me. Do you not think that there are certain characters that we can say pretty accurately, like Gambit, where it's like there's pretty much damn near universal agreement that this character is overtuned? I bet there's some characters like that.
Because the root issue is always, for me, we have to take everything. I am one of the most analytic persons.
Yeah.
If you know my career path, I'm a coach style player. I'm a crimson of the scene, right? I made sure I had VOD reviews every day with my team. We go analytic deep into the gameplay. We make sure that we are on the same day. We are on the patch. We make sure we work together every single day. We break down every hero cooldowns to figure out strategies. If you take away Gambit's resources, okay, what does he have? Because he actually has 250 HP, which a lot of supports don't, so that makes him quite weak against dive. That's one weakness you can abuse. What would you nerf to make him useless? Because it's a hero that can very easily be from the best hero to the complete worst hero in the game.
So what I would say is, if a character, like, he's kind of like Dino, in that if Gambit's in the game, it completely changes the game on like what's being played and how you play against it. And there are very few heroes that are in the game that are actually like that. So Gambit, Dino, Prime Torch is a great example as well of like these characters' mere existence completely changes the game entirely. Now we could have a discussion on exactly and specifically like what type of numbers or things that you could dial and tweak, but I think I agree with you that player perception does change week to week about what the meta is. However, I do think that there are like outlining examples that we can point to and say, maybe not objectively, but as close to objectively as that we can get to, this character is overtuned and should be reined in.
All of us play every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day. All of us here in this call. And if I ask each of you to define what actually makes Gambit broken, you all will have a different answer, even if we're pros. Light. We will both have a different answer of what makes him strong and how he's counterable. Because he does have weaknesses.
Yeah, he does.
But the question is, what would you tweak in that sense? Because you didn't give me a proper answer. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I could answer your
right?
I could answer your question directly.
Anything better than nothing? Like they're missing the entire exam. They're not even getting the wrong answer on the exam.
Yeah, like
they're just missing it entirely.
Even if, trust me, even if, like, let's say, like to answer your question directly. So I personally think Gambit's issue is his ult. Now someone could argue it's his cards, it's his mobility, it's his damage boost, like whatever it may be, like his dueling potential. Even if, it doesn't matter which one of us is right or wrong on what the actual issue with Gambit is, objectively speaking, nerf something, like Mills was saying, because it's better than nothing, and rein the character in, because fundamentally, more than anything that matters most, is the character needs to be picked less or have less of an impact on the game. And that's what we want. It brings up more variety, more draft, more characters that can be played, and that's the issue.
But that is what I would argue, because what you just said is exactly the direction they are taking. They might not show it directly, but they are taking that direction based on what everyone feels. And right now, the casual player base doesn't feel that's an issue because it's consistently being banned in ranked, so they don't even experience the character as very strong because they rarely play against it as well. So when they actually play against it, they don't really want to like think about the weaknesses. They don't want to think about the strengths. They don't want to develop that 20-year-old meta that we have in Melee, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no reason to do that, because you can just avoid it. You can just avoid the step of thinking about it. And everyone will think differently. So the root issue will still remain the same. You just gutted a hero just so other heroes can be strong. But you don't make the game fundamentally feel better. You just make it feel different once more. And then we just add a new hero that just outperforms the current hero.
The game will never feel fundamentally better, in my opinion. With the new heroes and the bans and everything that the game is, like, there is no achieving perfect balance in this game. It's just not possible. It's like you're chasing the fucking carrot on a stick that will constantly move and change and go further and further. Like, we reached a state of perfect balance before Dino came out, and then Dino ruins everything, or before Black Cat came out and then Black Cat ruins everything. Like, no matter what, like, we'll never reach that state. But here, real quick, I want to ask you both a question. Light, and trust me, this has to do with this. So in Valorant, they have something called it's the playtest program, or not the playtest program. They have a playtest team. So they made a team with former Counter-Strike pros when the game first came out. Former Counter-Strike pros, coaches, analysts, but it's mainly with like really high-ranked good players. And it was enough to run constant scrims basically. and their entire job internally is just to grind games, like nonstop, grind new changes, grind games. They get hands on patches before people do, like far before people do. They try to break it, they try to find it. Do you think that rivals would benefit from something like that, or would they still like miss the things that pros eventually figure out? What do you think?
I mean, it goes back to the same issue, because right now, my approach to nerfing Gambit would be a complete different one than Lights. So now it's a question about who you actually trust in the scene, right? Because I wouldn't go and nerf Gambit in that sense. I would I would completely restructure the game as a whole, because that would lead into nerfing Gambit in the way that he is right now. So I have a completely fundamentally different idea than other pros, about the game. So that leads into having that scene as a pro that will structure your game. Now you have to trust, like, everyone with different opinion anyway. Like, everyone will always have different opinions.
Right. But you can definitely craft better opinions than what they're already coming to, right? Like they might not be your opinion, but it's definitely better than the opinions they're already achieving, right?
That's a valid argument, but it's also valid to say that the casuals don't care about that, right? Because they just want to have fun. They just play once a week, They don't mind, because we have bans, so you can just avoid issues, right? So
Right.
I don't know. I don't really know what's the best business move for the game. What feels the best for me is what I can say. Yeah, that's what I can share, right? The same way the casuals will say, "Oh, Dino feels actually good if you play it like only once in a week."
Because I just think that there is a way that everyone is reasonably happy. Like there isn't a perfect state of the game, but there is a way, that everyone can kind of get what they want without completely ruining pro play, without completely ignoring the casual experience. Like, we can try to do both. What do you think, Light? Is that something that's possible?
I don't think so. I don't think you can have that type of test with how fast the patches come out and with how fast the heroes come out. Like, we would just have no time to like practice for our own matches and officials and like even play ranked ourselves if we also have to beta test all these different things before it comes out. Like, there's just not a big enough gap. But to kind of like address the other stuff from before, because I did want to have some closing thoughts on it. Like, there's obviously like an objective way, or sorry, there's an objective answer to what a character's powers and weaknesses are, and like how you should go about adjusting them for the overall health of the game, and how we as like individuals and like our ideas, like how accurate we are with that, and our perception of that is to try to get as close to it as possible. And there's going to be bumps along the road, there's going to be differences of opinion, but I think fundamentally the only thing that like truly actually matters, especially if we're talking about for majority of the player base, is seeing variety and diversity. At least in my mind, that is the most fundamental and foundational route that we can take to make the game feel fresh and engaging to play, not just for the casuals but for the pros as well. Like, I don't want to play one character or two characters for 6 months, right? Like, I want to expand my hero pool, play other things, have different types of drafts and strategies, have different identities for every single team. But as it is right now, even though Gambit does have weaknesses and there are things that you can do to play against Gambit, every single team, damn near, is first ban Gambit. And it's been like that for 6 months. And there has been some deviation, like we have seen some Dino first bans, and we have seen strategies where people have let Gambit through in the past and won. However, the predominant strategy, Gambit first ban. Now, if TrustMe's idea of restructuring the entire game, thus making Gambit weaker, is more accurate, more objective than mine, that's fine. I'm okay with being wrong 100%. Or if my idea of just nerfing the ults is fine, that's great too. Like, it doesn't matter in my mind. The end goal should be, let's see less Gambit and more of other characters.
Trust me, I want to hear what you have to say about like your idea for the game. We'll definitely get to that. But to me, I feel like we're kind of just overcomplicating it a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, we are playing a game. There are some like core pillars that we can agree on when it comes to balancing a game. I mean, we've already said one, like more skill expression is better than less. More player choice, I think, is a universally, objectively, like well agreed upon thing, is going to make a game more fun. When I have more options, more things I can do, as long as it doesn't like take away from someone else's fun. That would be another thing. Counterplay, right? So when we look at something like a Gambit ult, you say some people would disagree on the different changes you'd make to it. To me, you just gotta, like, for balancing, go back to those core things. Okay, so like, how do you give Gambit players more choice and like more options, more things they can do? maybe you can aim your ult and put it on one person, the effect is even stronger or something, right? Like, but just probably not a good idea, but like the idea of Gambit on paper, I actually really like him as a hero. Like, I think what he represents is fine. I think maybe where the disconnect lies is how tuned he is for whatever rank, but I just kind of wanted to get that because when you talk about balance, there has to be some kind of like rule to it all, like some overarching philosophy, and if you don't have that, which I think we're arguing kind of the devs don't,
Right.
then the game is just going to look what it is now, where it's all about counter swapping all the time and not actually like being good at something. Would you guys agree with that, or because to me it's
I already stated that 50% of the games are won in draft, so
Okay.
in pro play.
yeah. So what would a season look like with no swapping then? What would that look like? Would that expose certain heroes, certain strategies that you know, like with a season with no swapping, if you really think about it, win rates start to matter at that point, right? And then it's more about, but that's really not what the game is.
I think if you had a game where there was no swapping, you would just see a lot of characters who are strong and applicable in a lot of situations. Like you
Right.
would see
Gene.
a lot of probably a lot of Gene, a lot
Right.
of Tank Pool, a lot of Daredevil. I think you would see like Cap as well. I think you would see less Black Cat actually, because you don't want to be playing Black Cat into Daredevil, especially if he has resources. Like you can, but there's this kind of interesting dynamic between the two where like Black Cat doesn't really interact with Dino. Dino gives Daredevil cancer, but Daredevil gives Black Cat cancer. So it's like, but if you're in a game where you can't swap and you know the enemy team isn't going to be on Dino,
Yo.
you're going to be on DD like most of the
What
time.
if they just mind game the fuck out of you and walk out as Thing? Then like they're
Well,
there
stuck
would
on
be-
Thing.
it'd
but
be
you can't.
interesting.
You can't
But
like.
you would
get,
never
like-
you would never play Thing because Thing is
The
too.
thing is,
No,
too,
but
like-
if they walk out of spawn on things that you counter, they cannot swap. That's the you see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
but
Like,
the
you're
thing
literally
is that
coin
would
flipping
be
the whole
part
game.
of the skill ceiling. Like the skill ceiling, like even like we can say 50% is won in draft. Being able to draft and being able to like expose the enemy's weaknesses and abusing that to your advantage, that is part of the skill ceiling in pro play.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know?
Why
So-
would it?
Point.
What and that I think is
And the same
where
thing
what
would
NetEase
happen
is
if
trying
you
to do.
do
Like,
that.
or at least if I try to give them any credit at all, it's that regardless of the state of the game, the ban system gives y'all some amount of skill expression and agency over other teams. Like top teams that have good, they're flexible, they know how to play and adapt. Like they can adapt to whatever meta is in front of them, and they know how to research and like understand enemy teams like strengths, and they know how to run the ban phase. Like it doesn't really matter what the meta is, the top teams are still going to be consistently strong because of they can do all those things, right? They know how to do all those things. And so like that's the one way that like I mean, I'm just thinking of like other pro metas that never had a ban system like
Could I-
that.
Well,
Like,
think about
like
think about,
early
like, League.
Overwatch, like
Yeah.
Valorant. Like there's no ban system where you can kind of mind games, like win the
Nils,
game early. Like
I
you're
gotta
talking
interrupt
about.
you. I gotta interrupt you. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if
go
you
for
if
it.
you had no swaps, you'd have a hero select phase as well, not just a ban phase. And that's part of the strategy as well.
Well,
I was
Part of
thinking
the
like
skill
League of
ceiling.
Legends.
It would be part of the
Yeah,
skill.
Yeah.
I mean, in League
Exactly.
of Legends,
Yeah,
they also think, okay, they will probably roll out on this.
Right.
We either go full in risk and counter swap that comp, or we go something that's genuinely like really good. That we know, okay, now it's a 50-50 matchup or a 60-40 matchup, and we can actually win with skill.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's
think it'd be way
I
more
perso-
interesting.
Well, I
personally,
personally believe that hero shooters, like swapping and like hero shooters, I think go hand in hand. Like I don't think you want to remove that. Now we
Yeah.
can talk about the cost of swapping. I think that's an interesting
See,
conversation.
I
about
disagree.
There is no cost in swapping.
I think
right
with
now.
the game this balanced, like you're just always going to swap to the best like 3 or 4 comps. It's what it seems like, at least from
well,
a
I mean, you
viewing,
can-
like a casual
if
viewer.
if you made ultimates take much longer to charge, which is a change that I'm in favor of, like 40% increase from here, and then you actually just removed people's ults if they swapped. Like you could make it expensive to swap. Like if you want to
think-
reduce
I don't
swapping,
hate that. I don't hate
because
that.
then it's like you've built towards this thing that you want to use. Like it's justifiable to try to make it work, even if it's suboptimal. Like like the enemy team swaps, they're getting rolled, they're losing, so they swap to something that counters you, but you have an ult and they're at 0. Stuff like that. I think that's more interesting to me. But right now it just doesn't matter. You go down to 30%, you build up ultimate in one fight, like it just doesn't matter. Like there's no cost.
Yeah,
Swap
there's
to the
like
best
there's a very fine line between like the counter swapping versus like the Like you want to have a situation where you can play a lot of characters in a lot of situations. You don't want the game to be full rock paper scissors like it's 5v5 roll lock Overwatch. But also you want to be able to pick characters in a variety of situations because it like rewards you for committing your time to your character and getting good at it. Like no one who plays Black Panther enjoys that they could pick the thing and then you're instantly worthless. Like that type of like rock paper scissors gameplay should not be in the game. Like there should always be an option for the player. Now it should be harder for sure. There are characters that you should be able to pick that make the other teams harder, or the other person that's like giving your team aids harder. But it should never be I pick this character and I could be 4 divisions worse than you and you're gonna get less value. Like period. So I think they should try to approach it with that of like limiting those margins of counter swap. Like you just pick the right character in the situation, you instantly win the game because it's so easy to play against the characters that they're doing. Now what that looks like, I have no idea.
Well,
but I think
if we
aiming
kind
for
of
that
align
should
with
be,
what you're
should be a
talking
goal.
about, like if we kind of go with what you're talking about, what we talked about, which is like increasing the skill expression of a character. Like, what if instead of like a zone of no mobility on thing, it was something you actually had a time, which is going to be weaker, of course, but it was like a time-based ability, and then you just gave him some
Like it
other
had a deploy time. Like
Right,
you
well,
slam
like
the ground and it takes a second to come up.
Well, no. You slam the ground and it stops their movement abilities for that like half second or that second. Like it's not like a persistent field that if the BP just flies into, they just stop being able to function. So it's not like it's not just a denial of abilities. So like it's a much weaker ability than it is right now. But then you compensate by giving him, I don't know, like a fucking rock he could throw, skill shot type whatever. Like the idea is that you're taking away the free value and you're adding in more earned value.
I mean that's good, but it goes in the opposite direction of homogenizing every character, like they're doing with Gene Hella, and making every character do everything, so there's no like diversity.
We both agree that they should not be doing that. Like,
yeah, they should. Characters should have unique identities and roles in the game, but it's so hard, and there's a fine line because you can't go one or the other way. You can't have a character. You can't have every character do everything, and you can't have I pick this hero, therefore your hero worthless. So there are certain heroes like the Thing that they should address, where he is completely dog piss worthless into any gun, or kind of like Dino actually. Dino is like power crap Thing, bro. Like in all honesty, like their functions in the game.
Yeah.
Like tone down Dino's ability to do that and give him the flexibility to deal with range poke damage, whereas like Jean does everything all the time, 24/7, no weakness. Like she can die to dive because she's 250, thank God. But I'm released 275, best melee hero in the game, self-healing passive so she can hold off angles, like on and on and on and on and on, right? So it's like.
So what worries me is that I almost feel like they're actually trying to do this, but still just failing. Because like with the Thing you mentioned, they gave him. One of his big problems was back in season 3 during flyer meta, he couldn't deal with flyers, so they gave him he would just eat shit. So they gave him a dash towards opponents now, and then
a ground,
and they and then they took away like what his like kind of identity is. What I personally liked about him, which was his like he was really tanky and he could kind of just hold his own. And I feel like they just don't know what they're doing really, and they're just kind of throwing darts at a wall and seeing what sticks. But I do agree. I think there needs to be more of like a middle ground when it comes to balancing. And yeah, like I really like Trust Me said, where it's like the developers kind of like it makes more sense if you really think about it. Like they probably are just struggling to keep up just as much as the players are.
The main, and this is what I think is the most important thing, because all of you guys here have once again said different things, right? The reason why Thing is bad is also a complete complicated thing that many people need to spend hours to actually think about, because that he is good in some situation and you could maybe even play him in some archetypes that would enable him, but what it comes down to is the opportunity to learn. The developers have also a hard opportunity to learn, because the pros have a hard time to learn because so much new content is being released, so much thing changes, you want variety. In ranked, everything can be different. Every single ranked game you play, you're going to be on different heroes, you're going to be on different comp, so you have to restructure your entire thinking. Everything relates to the basics, Many people don't have time to learn the basics because there's no opportunity to learn. So the casuals don't even get all of that. And so doesn't the pros, because and so doesn't the developers as well. How do they ever get an opportunity to learn if all they're told, okay, Penny is 60% win rate in Plat, you know. So that is our opportunity to learn what do we value, what do we not value, and then it's hard. It is hard, you know. It is hard to find a good balance because you said it yourself. How do you make thing better? If you have to spend 5 hours on thinking about it, and then you would still come to a different conclusion than me. So it's hard. It's not easy to find a good patch. Like I feel like a lot of the people are very harsh on the developers. Even if you make Gambit worse, you know, you're not going to fix the root issue of the game, which is the fact that none of the players have the opportunity to learn archetypes in the game because they're so busy learning new heroes that come out.
So what you're saying is Black Panther's claws need a one shot. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
How did I? This
Let's have
this
a-
is what the casual player would say. Now,
Yeah.
if you go through your comment section, they would
Yeah.
say, "Well,
Yeah.
he didn't say anything."
Yeah,
of
yeah, I get.
like,
Yeah.
like, okay.
No,
Well, okay, I guess going to you, Trust, because I think I agree with you. Like straight up, I do agree with you. It is hard, and like there is a certain amount of like understanding we need to have, but at the same time, like we can't just be chilling and cool with nothing changing and nothing happening. So what would you say, like, what actionable changes would you want? Like if you were in charge, like what would you do? If you like, let's say tomorrow the devs came to you, not anyone else, but you specifically, and they said, okay, 5 changes or 3 changes. What do you want? What do you want to do? What do you want to change?
He wants to fire a couple people, I think.
Yeah, okay.
It's not that I want to fire.
Yeah,
I would
no.
actually hire.
Oh, I thought you
more
asked
people.
Light.
Oh no.
My bad. My bad.
I would actually hire more people, and I would hire people that would feed and train AI based on interactions of the game and the skill level of the game and the character, how there's like archetypes in the game, you know, like explosivity of a hero, sustainability, like all of that can be calculated in numbers, and then you would train in an AI with it that would give you a result on what the entire player base would want.
You're
I know
saying
it sounds,
AI is
I
better
know
than
it sounds
devs.
stupid,
That's-
but
no,
like you know
no,
how
no.
chess bots are smarter than any human. If you can develop that for patch notes, that would be theoretically the best approach to actually getting the best possible patch. But since we are humans and we are bound to make errors, there's also gotta be a compensation for that in the normal player's mind. I do think the ban system already gives you quite the variety that other games wouldn't have. I don't think in today's timeline, because everyone is so much dopamine bound, like every player, me included, you know, after I play my game, you know, I go to the toilet. Sometimes I open the TikTok, I open the YouTube, I see Lucky Seal flaming on any random kid,
Right.
you know, on playing Spider-Man. He's neither good looking nor is he good at the game. So it's kind of
What, bro?
interesting.
Wait, what
It's kind of an interesting YouTube short, okay? My brain is also rooted to dopamine. The reason what I'm saying is you have 3 bands, okay? And it means it leads to a lot of variety that will fuel that dopamine. But once again, it doesn't give you opportunity to learn the game to the fullest. I think if we would get more opportunities to learn the game to the fullest and generally have more people coming to the game, then we would have more people interested in learning the game. And then it would be a better, like, base to the game. So I feel like getting a non-ban ranked mode might not be bad, but then again, you have the problem of too little player base, so you're in infinite queue loop, right? Which is also not a possibility. Same way you can't put in 2-2, right? Roll lock, that is not possible.
Right.
So
You would
what
have
specific
infinite-
changes, like, so you wouldn't have any like specific changes to the
I would
actual
have.
game? It's okay.
But it goes a very, very deep list. Like it would be
We got
like
time, man.
a
We got time.
5-hour discussion. If you guys are
Okay.
down to hear my entire idea, I think one thing that has been consistently been a huge problem is the power creep to movement cooldowns. Movement cooldowns are a huge problem because they leave no room for margin of error. Like if you play Hela and you're taking a good time window flank, that flank opportunity will become bad if you're not playing a proper window with the rest of your team. And because the movement cooldown makes the tempo of the momentum of the fight shift very quickly, you can quickly be in a good position, but the next moment, because something happens on the map that is not in your control, will put you in a bad position. So that automatically tells your team going to that position was bad, even though it was originally a good play, given if that wasn't a thing with the movement cooldowns in the situation. So there's no opportunity to learn because the movement cooldowns are such a big problem. Everyone can go so fast across the map. Every role has that now. That is also the reason why some of the heroes, like no one thinks about actual archetypes of the game. Everything in the game is connected to the backline. What you play as supports defines your entire team composition. Nothing else matters in that extent, which is also why everyone thinks supports are so unbelievably broken, because supports do wire your entire game plan, because nothing else is based on, like, you actually go on a 1v1, like in Overwatch, you get a good trade, but the moment the enemy bypasses that trade by just like using his movement cooldown to get to a different location to avoid having to actually win the duel, that is a problem. Because now you have that archetype of avoiding issues rather than facing them and like finding new solutions, new routes to play the game, which kind of connects to the only thing that will work, which is your supports giving you uptime. Because the supports that supply you, if your supports are uptiming you and they have forward momentum, you are winning the game. So if you pressure the enemy supports, you're automatically winning. Whereas in Overwatch, going for the supports first might open a window where you will get 1v1 traded with the enemy tracer in a positive or negative way, which allows more of a counterplay to that playstyle. Whereas on Didi, why would you ever fight the enemy Didi if going for the support is more valuable? There's no reason to fight the enemy Didi. Because diving the enemy support is better. And it's only better if you have the right resources for it. Because the moment you go Rocket Jeff or Luna Rocket that have infinite supply resources on the map, you know, because some heroes don't. Invisible Woman is bound to some limitations when it comes to the range. So as soon as you have to, like, if you can bypass that limit range of like healing someone across the map, and like being less diveable because of that reason, because you have to cover more ground, more movement around the map. Now you can supply your diver while they can, because they have an invisible woman who can't do it the same way. So that is also like a problem. Like the people don't understand these archetypes. So we need to like break that down. We need to change the entire way the archetypes work. We need to reduce the movement cooldowns, give more margin of error. And that would be the approach I would take. But it's very deep, and it's way deeper than that, and I can't explain it because I also have a large language barrier here that is playing against me right now.
I guess the one thing, so like I understand what you're saying a lot about teaching people these core concepts, but so like what I basically do all day every day is just teach people that are in like plat and diamond, like very simple fundamental things that they don't understand. Like using cover is something that like an average diamond player doesn't understand how to use, like not consistently. Like we're talking about understanding archetypes. They don't even understand matchups. They don't even understand ult advantage, ult economy, numbers advantage. Like it's too like, and the idea that you can just tell people and they'll catch up, like they won't understand that very easily because they're like it's hard to even teach them very basic things. Like do you I don't know, like do you understand?
It goes back to the issue that is time, because something new will come out that will take away that opportunity to learn what you previously wanted to learn. That is it. So now the player will never be able to learn. As you said, you can teach them cover. The reality right now is taking cover is actually bad. There is no instance where taking cover is good as of right now, besides if you're hiding for a play, and that is like the only instance, and that cannot be taught like from one day to another, because that opportunity will be taken away with the next patch. Because then cover might be taken good, you know, it might be good. So that is the fundamental issue with the game, that there's no opportunity to learn for the casuals, and for the pros, and for the developers. All three have that issue. There is no thing to learn, because we have the bans, because we can avoid steps in the map, because we have other things that we can counter swap to, you know, to avoid issues that we face. So that is all part of it.
Do you think that ranked bans is actually bad for the game? I talked with one of my friends named Ralph. He absolutely hated bans from a design perspective, because he said that they do a lot of the things that you're talking about. They allow people to bypass the meta. They allow people to ignore things that they should learn. People never actually engage in the meta, because like most of the time they just ban away the things that they don't want to play against. Like people don't learn how to counter swap, counter play, outplay. Like they don't learn those things. So what do you think? Do you think that like it's a band-aid fix, or like what's your opinion on it?
This is the thing, right? This goes back to the entire discussion about what it leads into from a business perspective. Light said he wants more variety, so he would naturally think bans that lead into more variety are actually healthy for the game. While some people now think, okay, bans actually take away that opportunity to learn, which will in long term harm the game because people will not like really care about the game in that sense and not develop that thinking and will like learn and associate things differently even though they are completely different. So for some people that might work and for some people that doesn't work. And now you have the problem of where the game actually wants to cater to, right? Because you can go any direction. The same way you can take pro play into any direction. And you can have the developers either cater towards that or cater towards that. What you would want is the game to be more popular in general. And if the entire population is TikTok brained, then you add a TikTok to the game that will make the game popular.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That would be the solution to get the game more popular. Is it the solution you want to take? That's not up to us eventually. It is in a little bit, but not fully. Because we're customers as well. They will cater towards us, right? But not fully. So it kind of like there is no like every answer can be right. That is something I learned as a pro, you know, because we also get in arguments, right? The amount of time I argue, okay, I have this on the map, or I need you guys to play here, I want this to happen on the map, and all of that. Every opinion will always be different, and sometimes opinion can be right. Every opinion can be right as well at the same time, and this is one of them, in my opinion. Like you can have a game either with bans or without bans, and either game will feel good for the group that will like it. And then again, if you remove the bans now for one season, which will probably be to the liking of a lot of people, might not be to the liking of other people. You know? So it's hard to say. There's no every answer is right, to be honest. And it's more like a preference kind of thing.
Light,
And
about
what would
the
bring in the most people.
about the margin of error he was talking about. I mean, you actually haven't gone over your top 3 things that you changed to the game, because you've probably already said them on this podcast, but we can ask you that too, like see if it's like what's changed. But with the margin of error of like diving, where you jump in, they use like a major movement cooldown, then you know now all of a sudden you're exposed and you don't know whether to commit or is like the. Would you say like the heal spam, the neutral heal spam is like a big perpetrator in that? Because you said something that was interesting to me. Trust me, that like taking cover, there's like no point in doing that. Is that mostly just because like it's all about uptime and just playing main choke in the pro scene? Like I'm sure a lot of people watching are probably curious as well. So I'm kind of asking both a question right now, but I just kind of wanted to open up to you, Light, and then trust me after that, get your thoughts on what I said about that.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I fully understand the question. You're asking me how I feel about healing in the game?
No, sorry. Well, we never got your top 3 like changes you'd make to the actual game itself, like if you were in control.
Okay.
And then when he was talking about margin of error, I think he was referring to like the mobility creep and like how it gets punished if you kind of like commit, and then now you're at a position in like a really, I mean, you play dive, so you probably know better than anyone, right? Like, I mean, I guess it's all like limits at the end of the day. But
yeah,
like
I would say
the windows where you're able to actually go for things, I think is.
Yeah, I would say like the number one thing I'd want them to fix in this game is to like lower the difference in power in the DPS. I think there's like 5 to 10 DPS that are playable, 5 that are super broken, strong, and then the rest are just completely dog piss worthless trash. I would like to see that brought closer together, because in the tank role, I think the tank role is like relatively balanced compared to DPS, and the support role is even more balanced. Like I think every single support is playable in a variety of situations, and we've seen every support in Ignite, like all of them. But you will never see, like you should never see Iron Man, but like we'll never see Blade, should never see Black Widow at all either. Fucking Zatex, but like you guys know, I don't have to list off all the terrible characters. So like I would really like to see more terrible characters brought up, more specifically in DPS, because that's where the biggest discrepancy is. That's my number 1. Number 2 is that this is like outside of pro play, but fix the matchmaking. I don't care if EOMM is real or not, it feels real, and that's what matters. Everyone has a similar shared experience of the matchmaker feeling terrible. Like it just feels horrible.
Right.
I hate playing ranked. I do it every day because I'm passionate. I want to get better. And I play the game because I have to. I got to put my hours in. But man, is it miserable. Like, it is just shit. I don't like it. And then I guess for my third, I'll relate this back to what we said like at the very, very start of the conversation about like how can we make this game more watchable for esports. And I would really, really like to see them invest more into Twitch drops and like bigger viewer incentives to actually watch the game. And I know Flats has been talking about this for a very long time, and he's super, super right about this. Like, if anyone is going to tell NetEase about how to bring more viewership into their game, they should listen to this guy. Bringing more drops will bring more people in. Just having a recolor of a base skin and like a spray, no one gives a shit about, like at all. Or having better esports skins, like Overwatch. In 2018, with the Overwatch League skins, it completely changed the character's aesthetic relative to what the team is. In this game, we get it for one character, and it's a jersey that doesn't match their original theme. It's horrible. No one's gonna buy that. Like, let me get a fully like purple and black Spider-Man skin for Nightmare. Trust me, get like a Captain America yellow fucking black, white, whatever Navi's all other colors are. Let him get that as Captain America or as Tank Bull or as Venom or as any of his other characters. Like, that would immediately bring more people into giving the teams more money, and more people would watch if there was cooler, more unique skins. Like, could you imagine if there was a Twitch drop skin that was like, change the effects, change the aesthetic of the character, gave them different voice lines or something? Like, you could do something very, very like meta with Deadpool, where you give Deadpool a Twitch drop skin, and it completely changes his voice lines, and they actively update the skin's voice lines with what's going on in pro play. Because Deadpool breaks the fourth wall all the time, right? Like, you could be so creative and cool with what, like, you can do, but they just don't. They just, I don't know. So
I mean, they could even take it like a crazy step forward. Like let's say that there's like a tournament that's happening, and they say like, try the new hero 3 days early, like drops, like shit like that. Like,
yeah,
like
you could get so creative with it. Like that, I think is the easiest.
There's a million things they could do.
It is the easiest number one way that we could bring more eyes onto the game before we have any discussion about what like the actual pro scene should look like or what the game fundamentally should be.
It would also do a great job at connecting the casual to pro audience, because like a lot of casual players just don't even engage in the pro scene. But like,
yeah,
if you did stuff like that, like I think that they watch a little bit of it and then they get excited about it. You know, like that's how you bring people in and like connect y'all's missions or visions. You know.
Yeah, but the final thing is on the healing. I really, really would prefer supports to be less offensive in this game. Trust me, I know that you said that you wanted to give them more damage, but I think, like, maybe it's different in pro play, but, like, I feel like there are certain, like, Luna, I would rather her be more survivable than being able to one-shot you, have an instant, undodgeable freeze that kills you. And I'm seeing so many flanking Luna clips on Twitter where, like, this character is so unbelievably overtuned in her damage. Like, take that shit away right now. I know that she's a dive victim and everything, but I would rather Luna be like 400 health than one-shot me.
Wow.
It's just so boring to play against.
This is the thing. Now you gave an actual solution, because you said you want other characters to feel better.
Yeah.
Right? Having a solution for that is so unbelievably hard to find, because you would have to break down each and everything. You just said one solution, right? Mm-hmm. Which is you reduce Luna's damage, but you uptime her survivability. Well, that now leads into a contest loop where the enemy Luna will be permanently contested, you know, by everyone, because she can't help herself, she can't clear stuff. So now the DPS have to clear. So now it comes into a situation where now you have a DPS duel, because the DPS is the next best victim. So you would have one tank be sent on the Luna and on the backline that contests them, and will make them look at each other or something, and then you will have one.
Yeah, absolutely.
The DPS battle each other. You know, that would be what it would lead to, and that's fine. You know, that's like a different direction where the game would cater to. Is it the best possible? Probably not for many people. You know, because it's also not a fun gameplay for the Luna player. Because why would you want a game where now you can't defend yourself and you're a perma victim? Because it goes back to that, right? Now, why did they add White Fox? Because before, against Daredevil, against Black Cat, you were a perma victim. Daredevil and Black Cat are way too overtuned. Mm-hmm. Because if they executed coordinatively well, as I said, dive is meta in pro play, triple support is meta in non-pro play or semi-pro play. Because of that reason, because it's like harder to execute, but better. Yeah. You know, that's the reality.
I agree.
So it's going to suck for Luna plays, which is why they add more of these overtuned supports or overtuned supports in general. Because they can't really judge it, because they don't have the opportunity to learn.
I don't know if you agree with this, trust me, but for me, one of the best design supports ever is Ana from Overwatch, and the reason is because she has decisions to make, and there's very few supports in the game right now that have that many hard decisions. So like Ana had the decision to use nade offensively, which was mostly the best way to use it in high level, but you could use it that way, or you could use it defensively. But if you use it offensively, you're vulnerable. If you use it defensively, you're not getting the full value out of it that you could be using it offensively with. So like, my problem with a lot of these supports is they have utility that can be used multiple times all the time, or they could be used both offensively and defensively at the same time. Like as an example, like Luna Clap is offensive, but it also heals her, so it's defensive at the same time, and it pierces. Like, I think that there is room in I think probably Light would agree with, like, there's definitely room for just higher skill expression and decisions that actually matter throughout the support cast, rather than a lot of decisions that just don't feel like they actually matter. Like, you just press buttons and it doesn't matter. Like,
I want to take the opportunity, trust me, to respond to you as well. So I think, like, to get specific, I think melee dive DPS or melee characters in general, to be honest, they have to get value by taking risks and going in. And supports, like every support in this game, has passive value in the sense that they could just sit main and heal. And because there's that discrepancy, if it is an isolated 1v1, a support should be like, they can have a couple of archetypes in how they're designed. Like, you could have the rocket type where he's super mobile and he has infinite range healing, but in return he doesn't have a stun, or he doesn't have like any other way to defend himself besides running away. Or you could have Luna, where like she has fall off, she does have that infinite range healing. It's not as effective as like Jeff or Rocket, I believe. I don't know what the fall off number healing is exactly, but like, she doesn't have the same mobility, and if you get on top of her, she could just kill you. And my problem with Luna is, like, she has the passive value of being a support, but I think her design, in the sense of that if you go on to her, I'm okay with supports having options to defend herself. It's just too much. It's like White Fox. Like, the healing on White Fox passive form is too much, and the damage on Luna Snow is too much, and the snowball is too easy to hit. Like, there are characters like Daredevil, why he's so strong is he actually has the tools to be able to kill Luna if you deflect the freeze. Otherwise, you get one shot. Or like Black Cat can iframe it, and that's why those characters are so good. But if you play any other dive character into Luna, you are one shot. You can't play Spider-Man into her. Panther, but she has like 400 health. You can't even do your full combo on her and kill her. And most of the time, if you're playing against good Lunas, they just kill you instantly on your engage. If you hit the freeze at all, you instantly die. And it is just too far one-sided in the term of the support than it is in the diver. Now, at high level play, where everyone's coordinated and you all go at the same time and you one-shot her, that's great. But there are things like the rocket beacon, like your own team marking, a variety of different things that you can play to stop that from happening. But I just think, like, for most people in most situations, it is too far lopsided on the side of the support in the passive value.
Okay, I can speak up against it. It goes back to the original problem. The reason why the supports are so strong is because the enemy has this continuous hit.
Yeah.
You cannot clear people. It is impossible. You will have a cap flake in your backline with Dino in their team. The Dino will trade on your Dino. The moment your Luna gets contested because the enemy cap has flake and he's going to go on you, he will not be cleared because your DPS have to turn for him. The enemy cap has too many movement cooldowns to play around and bait with your attention. The same with the DD, right? The DD can always go behind cover, always just AFK behind a wall, and he's still a threat to the Luna. The Luna can't run away, can't clear him most of the time, at least if you're not misplaying. Right? Because that's the reality. If you're misplaying, then that will happen. Or if someone else is misplaying in your team, right? Whatever. Now the problem is, now you require the Luna to have that tool to defend herself if you don't want a miserable experience on the Luna. And if the Luna has a miserable experience, as I said, the entire game is rooted around your supports. As soon as your supports are dead, you lose the fight. Yeah. There is no other alternative. That is the game. That is Marvel Rivals. The way to get away from that is to turn the game into less of an slop of cooldowns and HP, and make it more attractable to trading. Like in example in Overwatch, heroes do a lot more damage compared to rivals. Tanks do a lot more damage in a 1v1. They have a lot less HP. Now they have more than they had in the past, right? But it also turned like that when the game released, at one point, because Overwatch is the same case with Rivals. It also got movement crept. Ana is unplayable in Overwatch right now on most maps because the heroes that have good movement punish Ana too well.
Yeah.
The same way Luna gets punished by good movement. And the way they compensate for that is by making Luna stronger with her base kit.
Yeah.
Because that was the only choice they had. So it sucks for either side. It sucks for you as well, because if you're solo diving, as you said, and you're not in a professional environment, it feels like you would want Ana to be weaker, whereas if you're from the Ana side, it feels like Daredevil is still too strong, and we need to ban it out first. Because
Yeah,
I
I
can't deal
think
with it alone. You know
I have
what
a
I mean?
question and like a response. My response is like, whenever I'm speaking about my opinions, for the most part, they're like in ranked, so it speaks for a more majority of player base, and I should better clarify if I'm speaking about pro player ranked. In pro play, like I think Luna's completely fine, because if you have someone else in there with you, it's like a completely different story. The freeze is single target, she's immobile. Like the damage threshold that Daredevil can instantly drop like 270 damage on you, unmissable. And despite how much like healing or regen she has from the other support, like it's still like a lot on top of the wall hacks and everything. But my question was to you earlier when you were mentioning about how you wanted to completely redesign the game, and you talked about like the movement creep and stuff. Do you think that if you were to nerf most movement cooldowns in the sense of you increased their cooldown themselves, or if you reduce the distance depending on the character, that window being increased increases the counterplay and response that you could have after receiving the hit, like after absorbing it? And that would open up like a healthier
It would
gameplay loop.
increase the skill expression of the time window, but it also would require more nerfs. It would require tanks to be less bulky. It would require tanks to have not be like this big HP hitbox. It would require supports to be less of a heal bot playstyle and more of an angle taking and supporting your DPS in that sense playstyle, instead of like standing behind your tank and getting value from that. It would be a complete restructure to the entire game.
Yeah,
My
that
approach.
sounds like a lot more how Overwatch plays. Like I haven't played Overwatch in like a year
Yeah,
and a half,
it
maybe
does.
2 years.
I know
Yeah.
that it sounds like
Yeah,
that, but it
but
would
that
be-
reminds me a
Well,
lot
well-
of how it used to play when I was playing it actively.
Because like I think one of the criticisms, trust me, that we've come to a lot on this pod is that it feels like the uptime of some of these sustainabilities are so frequent that like you could have a hit and then you can disengage like in ranked. And if the hit isn't fast enough, like, and it's very hard to be fast enough, you're not going to be able to hit again before they get these cooldowns back. Like they come up too often, like Cloak Bubble 8 seconds as an example. Like I know Cloak is not really that strong right now, but like just in the past, right? So like I think that like I mostly would agree with what you're talking about, but it would have to also come with like an increase in cooldowns from a lot of these sustained cooldowns, like increase in cooldown time. Like a lot of these would have to be much greater. Like I like the idea that like I force out invis push and I force out invis jump, and then like that actually matters. Like you're talking about, like them wasting cooldowns actually matters in the same way that like in Overwatch, wasting a cooldown, wasting a nade. That I've probably coached like hundreds of Ana players in low elo that like they would just use nade for dumb shit, right? They take 10 damage or 20 and they nade themselves, self-nade, and then like they could actually be punished for that, and they typically would get punished for that at some point where they could have used that cooldown. That almost never happens in Rivals, or at least it doesn't happen as frequent as I think that you would prefer and I would prefer, because like it's like mistakes that are not being actually ever exploited. They're just being like overwritten, or like they just don't matter.
because you can avoid being punished for that most of the time,
Right.
because you have movement cooldowns, because you
Yeah.
have like escape tools on every hero, right? Even like dive characters have that. Every dive character has escape tools. Cap, Venom, all of the characters have escape tools. They can do everything. Even and most of the time that will be the result of it. So it is, as you said, the cooldowns are too long. You would have to like reduce the dopamine in that sense, as I said earlier, right? By reducing the cooldowns, making the game feel more of like a punish window, and create more room of error in that sense for many characters in 1v1 situations as well, so that you can actually be challenged on angles, which you can't be now. Because you can avoid the angle duel, and you can find better value on the map, which is by going on the Luna.
But is that realistic though? Because casual players are probably watching right now. Like, this guy's trying to take away my Atom flight. Like there's a lot of things that they'll just add just cause, and it's like I don't think really that's. I mean, it's almost like you might as well put maybe your critiques of the game towards an area that may be more useful. I don't know. I like that's kind of my criticism of your whole argument. Is it's
I
not really
wanna
realistic.
I wanna play devil's
There's
advocate
no
too. Trust
argument
me.
from me. I'm just making an entire statement. My
Yeah.
entire
Sure.
point was everyone has different opinions. As I said, as you say, right? My approach would not cater towards a certain type of group, guaranteed.
hmm
That is
Right.
100% going to be the case, but none of the approaches we brought up will do that.
Right.
My concern is like it kind of making the game more like Overwatch. I think would not appeal to a lot of people as well, or they would go play Overwatch. And I think that's like a big concern that we would like if we were to go in this direction that we would have to be careful about is like we want Rivals itself to be a game that's unique and plays differently than Overwatch. Otherwise, we will just always be a worse Overwatch. And I think part of like the fantasy and like the great things about this game is like how powerful the characters are. Like you would never get a character like Daredevil in Overwatch. I'm not exactly sure
It
about
would be
Prime Vendetta,
insane.
but like imagine a
It'd be
character like Daredevil
insane.
that had like
It'd be
perma wall
insane.
hacks and
It'd be
resets
insane.
and you know
But
all the
you
shit
have
that he
that.
gets.
Honor would have no.
Do you?
You have that.
Does
but
Vendetta
it's-
play like that?
You have that in Overwatch. This is like a thing a lot of people underestimate. What do you mean by that? If you mean meta-defining characters, you have that. In
No, I don't
Overwatch,
mean
it's a
No,
meta-defining
fake
characters.
we're just
I mean,
talking
like,
about a hero with that.
If you
level
take
of
like the
power in
average
kit,
like the average aggregate power of an Overwatch character compared to Rivals, like what you can actually do in the map, like the actual like game itself might feel like relative because everyone's so powerful, but the overall power of a Rivals character, I would say, is higher than an Overwatch one. Like characters like Spider-Man and Daredevil and like Luna and Sue and like these infinite, like look at Zen's strength to Luna's, like release Luna's 6 seconds to 12 on top of all the other shit that she can do. A Zen orb that goes through walls and stays on you permanently, right? Like that's kind of what I'm talking about, and I think that type of power fantasy.
Cassidy to Bucky. I mean,
Exactly,
it's, not
like
even remotely
that
close.
type of power fantasy that you get from Rivals is what makes it so attractive to me and why I personally enjoy it. Now, how much you value that and like my personal feelings and opinions is up to you, but I think that is a big draw for a lot of people, and that you can hop on this game and not only play like iconic superheroes, but they actually feel strong and powerful. And I think that we should try our best to stick to like that core identity of Rivals without it getting to a degree where you have characters like Gambit for 6 months while also getting to the point where we don't have characters like Fanta or Blade who have just been perpetually dog shit for forever, and give them a unique identity that can scale in this power fantasy where they can find their place in the game.
I guess I have a question for you, Light. Do you think that there's some characters that should never be meta? Like,
Never?
Do you think like Squirrel Girl should never be meta, or Scarlet Witch, or do you think that those characters, either one should always be bad, or two should be reworked so that they have a more natural skill curve? What do you think?
Well, it depends what you mean by meta. I would say like
A or S tier.
yeah, I would say like the lower skill tier heroes should remain. Like we should try to get every character at least in C tier. We don't want any characters to just be dog shit unplayable 24/7 no matter what. Every character should be pickable if the circumstances are right. But there are characters in this game that are just like Squirrel Girl's niche is that she has a ton of front to back loaded damage. But her weakness is that she's super vulnerable. Her damage is inconsistent. She can't really deal with flyers. And so like if we can find a way to make it to where Squirrel Girl's weaknesses are addressed in the degree where it's not so easy to deal with her, while also not making her damage so overloaded that it becomes obnoxious and unplayable to play against her if you're playing a Groot, if you're playing a Strange, if you're playing a Thing, a Dino, like anything like that. Like that is the goal of what I was talking about earlier, about like we need to try to do our best to not make heroes good in every situation, but not make them unplayable in the current ones is what makes them terrible now. And that's like the constant challenge of balance of like this give and take or whatever. And in my opinion, variety is the spice of life in Rivals, of where we should try to get as many characters in the game as possible, while also maintaining that the harder characters should more often than not be better.
Right. Okay, so
Hulk should be good, Spider-Man should be good, Jean should be good, Star-Lord should be good, Venom should be good, Rocket should not be that good that often, fucking Jeff, Scarlet, Squirrel, Iron Man, like the lower skill heroes shouldn't be as good as consistent, but they shouldn't be worthless. They should not be worthless.
Trust me, looks like you want to say
Well,
something.
I'm not happy with you, Light. You just contradicted yourself, no?
Did
You
I?
said like every character should be C tier, but now you say the lowest
No, 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 no. I said
character should be worse.
every character, we should try to get them in it. Sorry, let me clarify. We should try to get every character minimum C tier, as in pickable. And defining C tier is like this character has a niche that can be played in the game. And I would say like a D tier character is don't pick this character under any circumstances. Too weak, it's not good.
No.
But you can still have B, A, S, whatever characters, and that's going to change over time as more heroes is added in the game and the balance. But I don't want to look at the DPS cast and see half of them being unplayable or so niche that it can only be played by a specialist in a particular circumstance.
Right. I think
Does that clarify? Sorry to cut you off, Mills, but I want to make sure that like I'm understood.
Yeah.
Does that make more
Valid.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is valid.
One of the things I think we also want to stay away from, and I think you'd agree with me, Light. So I know we've used like Magic examples in the past. You know, blue is control, and like I know we talked about that before.
Yeah.
Well, there's a concept in Magic called strictly better, which is just a card that they cost the exact same, but one card does something better.
Yeah.
Like one card will say counter target spell for blue, 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 and one card will say counter target spell, draw a card. And one of those cards is just strictly better. It's like straight up, it makes no sense to put one card in your deck if you could play the other card. And so like that is a lot like in Rivals that happens a lot where there are characters that are just strictly better. They're just they
Yeah.
do very similar things, but they have less weaknesses. They do very similar things, but they, you know, have more playmaking, whatever the case may be, right? So
Yeah, like DD
like,
to Magic,
right.
Gene
Like,
to Hella.
If a character, like, the more unique character strengths are, like, especially if they're, like, on the lower power level, like, give them really unique strengths that are, like double down on those unique strengths instead of making characters that are just, like, kind of the same as one another, but one of them's just, like, obviously just, like, a worse version. That's why I think there's a big criticism to, like, Gene and Hella becoming more homogenized. Like, they should have doubled down and differentiated the two, like, pushed their hero design further away. Like, I liked a world where, you know, they never got rid of the spark. They hard capped Gene's damage, like, you know, 10 meters or 15 meters or something. Like turn her into a more close range character with more mobility and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just to instead of turning her into a character that feels very Hella light, and then we have these characters that are strictly better. Like, give them uniqueness in their
Yeah,
kit.
I like how Overwatch did it with their hit scans, like Sojourn and Cassidy and Soldier and Widow and Ashe are all like
Ashe.
very unique and like how they play and their ranges. And I wish Rivals would design their hit scans a little bit more like that. Like Black Widow, I think is a character that should be pickable in a lot of scenarios. Like it's a very skill expressive hit scan sniper character that speaks to a lot of people. I think that the kick is just so dumb on the character, and like despite her being bad, she's extremely toxic to play against. Like she's so easy to kill with any amount of coordination. But if you're having like a pure 1v1, like what happens in ranked, you just like you can't dive her, and then she's also a sniper, so she just kills you, and it's like
Here's a rework idea I had. I actually talked to some Widow players about this. What do you think about this rework? So literally remove the kick. Just straight up remove the kick. I think that's the
100%.
Problematic part of the thing. Give her a grapple, just like Widowmaker in Overwatch. She gets a grapple, and then instead of baton, she has like Mac 10s, like very close range SMG. Think of like Frenzy in Valorant, or like just like very close range damage. So like she could body shot someone, grapple to them, shoot them down. She's vulnerable. She can't crowd control you. You know, like if she wants to outplay a dive, she could like shoot you in the body, grapple up, and then like shoot you, like gives you counterplay, but it's not. I kick one person and then I just get to grapple to you for free and stun you for no.
Yeah,
reason.
it doesn't even matter what the rework is. Like let's just have an identity to the character's archetype. Like I would like to see Jean reworked into a mid-ranged, like mid to close range, hyper mobile hit scan character. So like
It'd be so sick.
remove the stun, but decrease the blink cooldown every time she hits a headshot or something.
Yeah,
Something
or
simple. We don't have to go
ignites
into
the
the specific
flames or some
details.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't have to go into the specific details, but give her an identity that separates her from Hella. Let Hella be the Ashe of this game, where she's like the medium to long range sniper character, and you pick on situations like Clintar, like Hall of Dajalia, or maps where you can just like take angles, and that's fine. That's Hella's thing. But don't make Hella and Jean the same. Don't make Black Widow, Hella, Jean all the same. Like, let's just get some variety going. Like, let's get Magic's identity here, and Daredevil's identity here, and Black Cat's identity here, and Spider-Man's here for the divers.
Yeah, Widow's an interesting one because I mean they gave her a team up a couple whatever patches ago where she can
With
heal with her
Phoenix, yeah.
shots, right? This is something we've talked about on previous episodes quite a lot. Is trying to make heroes viable in the higher ranks through the team ups. And I was going to open it up to you guys. Do you think there's like a team up they could give Widow that would make her pickable in pro play? And what types of team ups would you want to see in general for the weaker characters moving forward? Go with either one of you if you
You can
got
go ahead, trust me.
Oh shit! I was looking at something else. I did not listen.
He said
You're good.
he was
Shit,
asking
you got it.
he was asking for Black Widow, is there a team that they could add into the game, like a team up that would make her a viable character? And we were basically just talking about like how they should distinguish the hit scans from one another so that they don't feel homogenized and give like all the hit scans ideally certain identities, all the flankers identities where they could be slotted into specific situations.
Right now, any hit scan is unplayable. So, if you truly want to make a hit scan feel better, you gotta restructure the game.
Would you classify Star-Lord as a hit scan, or are you talking just Hela, Jean, Black Widow? Elsa?
Okay, let me restructure it. Slow pacing hit scans. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No movement, no invince frames, hit scans. Psylocke's high mobility, Star-Lord's high mobility. You know, so these characters are playable. But,
Okay, so
all the
let's
non-mobility hit scans aren't playable.
Because
So
the
what
movement
if-
creep, right?
Hela
Yeah, I
gets
mean,
Yeah,
there's
which
like
I
a
hard agree.
1,600 HP tank occupying your lane, and you don't have a movement cooldown to avoid them. So, just zero chance of counterplay.
Yeah.
Or like a 500 HP Diddy with deflect with, like, even if you get him to one shot, he's just going to grapple behind the corner, and in 5 seconds he's going back on you. So, just zero
Yeah,
chance of
it's the
playing game.
same reason why Namor is bad too. I think like
Exactly.
just,
Like,
like,
no DPS.
20-second
no
bubble,
instant
like
DPS.
you can't do anything.
Punisher is playable, but only in triple support if the enemy can't execute the dive, and that is viable in pro play when dive characters are banned.
Yeah. And the shotgun's awesome. Little
Yeah.
less serious topic, bro. Punisher has been so much fun for me recently because every single game, every
I've been
game,
enjoying.
I get Daredevil, Black Cat, and then either Star-Lord or Spider-Man banned. And then people play Dino, and I pull out the shotgun and fly into the back line, and it's a great time. That thing is awesome.
My plan's playing budget Spider-Man, bro. Like legit.
He's bro,
Spider-Man from Walmart, bro.
No,
Fly
he's
the
so
fuck in.
fun. He is so fun just sitting there pumping people with the shotgun, bro. Like, it does so much damage. It's awesome.
And like, I think it's gonna be really hard, trust me, for like the casual audience to even understand the level at which you talk about the game, to be honest with you, just because their experiences are so far removed. Like the idea that like Jean Grey is unplayable, which like she's just not really particularly good in pro play right now.
No,
according to you.
John Gray is a little bit more playable because
a little bit
because
more
you have
mobility.
less margins
Right.
of error.
Or but like
If you
Namor,
made
or like the
Punisher
idea
op-
that Namor is not playable
Yeah,
or
I
something
get
like
it.
that. Like no one is gonna understand that really, right? Like they're not really gonna understand why that is. Like it's because like while you talk about mobility creep, right? Like what mobility also does is like it gives you infinite choices and infinite repositions at all times, right? So like the higher skill you are as a team and as a player, the more you're gonna use that, and the lower skill you are, the less you are. And like the reality is like even top 500 players, like your average top 500 player, is not repositioning as much as like y'all are, like not even remotely close. Like it's like
Goes-
so far.
Goes back to what I said,
Right.
right? Like the MRC teams, like the second division professional teams, will play triple support, and the first division will play full dive with 2 supports.
Right, and
Because-
y'all can just. I got you.
Because you can bypass that issue, right? Because you have a deeper understanding of the game. The problem, once again, leads to the same root issue that there's no opportunities to learn. Because people don't know where to start. There's infinite stuff to learn.
Yeah, I think a big issue too, trust me, between that barrier and like I think I can speak a little bit more closely on this. Like, you're on one of the best teams in Ignite, and I'm on one of the worst. So like obviously like my team's skill level is much closer to that semi-pro type of tier. And I've been saying for like forever, like guys, like we just need to lock in and play dive. It's just better. And the reason is because triple support, in order to be a successful comp, it wins inevitability. So like if you just sit there and AFK, do nothing, farm your support ults, you'll win. But when you're playing against divers in teams that are really, really good at dive, if you don't absorb the hit perfectly, you die. And then even if you do, they just leave, and you don't have the ability to punish them. You can't chase them, or you can't walk forward and kill them in time before they come back in, and their second hit is stronger, because typically those movement cooldowns are shorter than your cooldowns that you need to survive. Like Mantis Sleep is 15 seconds. Venom's Slam is 8 seconds. His swing is 8 seconds. So he's back. He slams in, swings out. He's back in the second time. This time he commits his shields and he kills you if you use your sleep at the wrong time. And like those types of mistakes happen all the time at that level. And especially when you start adding in like Venom's Chomp, a Cap Flake having perma uptime, Rocket existing, throwing the bongo in, and then everyone gets focused and dies instantly. Like there's so many things and combinations. Jean Grey, her old combo with everybody, that pierces through supports to the neutral, that like when you get to that higher level of play and you can actually coordinate, set up your hits, no one feeds or gets pre-fighted, and you just cycle over and over again, it's impossible to play triple. Like you just can't unless it's like Loki Mantis into Daredevil and you banned Luna and Jean and Black Cat, which would never happen. So like
it straight up sucks. You can be in the same matchup and not be at a better skill level and get shit on by a triple sub comp, even though it's worse in the moment because you're not better on dive.
Yeah, exactly.
That sucks. And then eventually you will face a team and you will play the triple support and you might be good on it, but the dive team will be better on it and that will be meta. And then what defines that? Right? What does that mean? Why is it meta? Why is it not meta? And to that level, getting to that level, many people don't get because you can avoid it by skipping and thinking, okay, I'm avoiding the matchup entirely and just changing what I played earlier. Yeah. Because it feels better now.
Do you, as a tank player who's like extremely good at dive tanks, trust me, do you prefer this kind of meta where dive is that good and mobility is that strong? Or would you prefer like a triple support is actually the best comp meta, or like maybe back like in the old days where it was like res comp or something like that, where it's like it's not about hypermobility all the time? Like, what's your?
I don't want to sound this like an ego trip, but the reason why I am successful with dive is because dive is the best. Me as a pro player, I adapt to what is the best in the moment right now, and I will play whatever is best. So for me, it doesn't matter what is the best in the moment right now. I'll play any meta, I'll play any archetype, and I will make sure I'll outperform on that archetype in the enemy matchup. So that is my job, right? So for me, it has nothing to do with dive being like better for me or not.
Okay, so, but I'm just saying, what do you enjoy? Does it not matter, or do you just enjoy winning?
It's hard to say. I do enjoy the ability of like having that trade on the backline sometimes, you know, having that mobility on the map. I am a mobility creep guy as well. There's no other way around it. I like bypassing issues with Venom. I like bypassing issues with Cap. I like playing with the enemy's attention, you know, playing a cat and mouse game. And that is what Rivals is about, you know, right now. That is what it is about. So I can't argue that I do cater to dive tanks because they feel good as well. But I also think that I wouldn't hate trading front to back if it wouldn't feel so miserable. Because right now playing Groot feels absolutely shit. Playing Dino feels absolutely shit. You just get shot.
I've seen a lot of Twitter posts about like
I mean, it just feels
miserable.
It's like playing Groot into Wolf.
9 to 5 scrims.
You know, you had to do it.
It's like,
you had to do it. You play Groot into Wolf, it sucks, you know. And then if you go Fing, the enemy has a Groot and you lose. I mean, it sucks. We got the Iron Wall because it sucked. Does it improve it? Not in the long run. It's just another thing to avoid. You know, it doesn't fix the root issue, which is the fact that.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Well, do you think that there are changes that people can make, like the devs can make, that make it so that the Groot matchup doesn't suck as bad? Like changes to the Wolf, changes to the Groot, changes to balance. Like, are you in favor of those? Like,
it starts with the fact of removing 300 HP from the Groot, making sure it starts with the fact of removing HP from the supports and making Groot's hitbox less approachable and giving him more of a sustainability by adding a shield to him, a small one that he can use to outplay certain areas on the map. Like, it goes back to what I said. I only think if you want to make certain things feel better in the game, and if you want to care about that group of people that care about that, because then we once again talking about what I would want and niche things, right? Which many people don't understand and don't care, right? Which is valid. right? Every player's opinion is in the end of the day valid. It's customer's choice, and people try to cater towards that. And if that is the case, then you need to restructure the game in the way I would see it, obviously. And that would only cater towards a small variety of people, and maybe it would create a new archetype of game that would bring in new players because it feels different. But maybe not, you know. So right now, as Slide said, we want to enjoy the rivals we have and we want to make it better. I can see that, but what is the rivals we have right now? Who can define it?
To get to your core
How deep does
point,
it get?
like there's things that you would like and that could create a completely different type of game, but you care mostly about the popularity and the health of the game as a whole, right?
Yes.
So like, and you're willing to just adapt and not change too much about the game if it means the game is doing well, getting a lot of downloads.
It's losing its magic in that sense. Because if you change the entire game, you will have a completely new game, obviously.
Right.
Right.
So even though that's the game that you would prefer in a vacuum,
Yes.
it's not necessarily the changes that you would enforce.
It's not what I would enforce. What I would want is I would want more people to the game, and I think you can achieve that by making it more popular, by giving certain things that people want. Like as I said, custom game, giving more opportunities, because I speak a lot about opportunity, right?
Right.
Opportunities to learn, opportunities to grow, investing into actual good casters, because we don't have them. I'm sorry that I hated a lot on the casters, but investing into good casters that know how to properly analyze, that can give actual value to the people. And even that isn't enough. You need actual pros, former pros, that are deeper connected to the game, that understand the deepness of the game, that understand the level of the importances of the game. Maybe you have coaches like you be able to do that. Or like maybe have them during Ignite talk about the game, you know, so the people can actually feel connected to the pro play.
What happened in Overwatch will probably happen in Rivals, that eventually ex-pros will be casters, most likely. Y'all will be color
exactly.
casters.
That will also
probably
guaranteed
happen. Light, you're gonna be a caster. We gotta PG
Dogman,
up your image a little bit. We gotta.
You know, I've been better. I've been a good boy.
Yeah.
I'm not flaming anybody anymore for the most part. I've kept my head down. I'm focusing on myself, trying to improve.
You would actually be a
Dogman is a
sick
good caster.
caster. That would actually be
The
dope.
first two times I came into light streams, he was on a rant about the same hero, and it was like months apart. He was talking about G Gray.
Like you saw that rage bait tweet, right? They were
I quote tweeted it LeBron James.
yeah, bro. It's just your name.
Like a gif
You're
of
on the
LeBron
Rage Bait Hall of Fame. Holy.
Yeah, no, but I think like if people actually like sat down and like watched my streams, they would kind of understand I'm like much more reasonable. And the stuff that I tweet out is like, it's sort of propaganda. Like me saying Black Cat is bad all the time when people ask me, and like bitching about Black Cat when she came out because I was bad at the hero, like everyone was.
Like you and
I knew.
those, like,
No, like I knew that she was good, and I'm gonna continue to say that she's bad because I'm biased. I want the character to be strong. It's my favorite playstyle. I like playing melee assassins. It's not a secret, right? Now, does that mean that I can't have like a good opinion about like supports or hit scans or anything like that? No, like everyone is biased towards a certain type of playstyle or thing, but like you can still be like you could still know what's good for the game. Like I'm so down with Black Cat and Daredevil and Dive being nerfed in general, but we have to understand the repercussions of what that means and what that looks like. And I don't think it would be fun for anyone to sit there and shoot each other main the entire game, and the game be like it was in Season 0, where you either play off of team-ups, which they don't make any good team-ups anymore, so that's not an option, or your Hela's better than theirs, and he flanks and wins his one. Like, I don't want to play that, bro. That's boring. But again, that's just an opinion. But I like dive mirrors. I like high mobility. I like the game.
The player base, as I said. I think one thing that would be very important is increasing the player base.
Yeah,
And
that
I
is
do think
true.
getting custom games, getting more people
so
to
you're
watch
saying
Twitch
like
with
a
the right
workshop mode,
drops,
like in Overwatch,
right?
like a
As you
workshop.
said, that would be awesome.
Yeah, workshop would be great. Yeah, is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Trust me, by the,
Yes,
the custom.
workshop.
Like
Yeah,
a workshop.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
10,000%.
workshop.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to this point. I mean, I've really appreciated your insight. Trust me on being a top player as yourself. But now that we're kind of at this point where we're talking about the health of the game, we can kind of get into the some of the other issues we really like to talk about. You made a face when Light mentioned EOMM and the matchmaking, and I wanted to come loop around on that
Once
and
again,
come back
bro.
to it.
I can't get away from this topic, no matter what.
No, I would love to hear it. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
you
that-
go,
that-
you go,
fix-
and then I actually have some commenters to address personally, but you go first.
Fixing the matchmaking, I think, is one thing the community, a lot of the people, a big majority of the community, for especially more of the hardcore player base is something that they're strongly advocating to fix. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that. And do you think that there is EOM? I know you mentioned like AI and
Yeah.
algorithms.
I would
I'm
love
going
to hear
make
Trust Me's
myself
opinion.
the state enemy number one, but I'm sorry to say, Light, I don't believe in it at all. 0%. I think it's a omega skill issue, and if the skill issue consists out of counter swapping and you're not doing it, then that's just it. Because on tank, an example, there are some roles that feel miserable in ranked. And I understand that. Like, as you said, right, the moment you don't have DD and Black Cat, which is banned most of the time, now your value as a DPS feels so much less.
Yeah.
Because those heroes are independently, right, doing so much more on the map than a Hela does in a team comp. The same way that if you play Cap over Dino, you can do infinitely more on Cap than you can on Dino in a ranked match. Infinite, because it goes back to the win condition. You contest the enemy support, right? Now you can't do that with the win condition, which is now allowing the supports to take over the lobby, which Black Cat, DD, dive characters deny. You know, which is why people cater towards them. So it goes to that discussion now where people in ranked will have, like, they don't even know when something is good. So it feels like a general miserable experience because no one will be able to allow you to enable yourself. Like, you will not feel good to play if you don't have the right comp around it. And you also, if you don't understand the game deep enough, you don't understand how to enable yourself and your team in that sense. So it doesn't feel good to play in general. So it's not a matchmaking issue. It's literally just a skill issue to that sense, because the experience in Rivals caters to the sense of, like, everything feels playable in the game before, and you just won a game on Mr. Fantastic, and now the enemy is hard counter swapping you on Mr. Fantastic, and everyone can tell you're getting counter swapped on Mr. Fantastic, you're playing complete dogshit hero, and the guy himself will only understand after 5 games because it requires time to learn.
Yeah, I think.
Well, he won't even know because he's got everybody muted in game and he's just running.
Oh, that's right. But then it would.
Yeah.
No, but then he would eventually end, because the brain teaches us to learn. Right?
Yeah.
If you lose 30 times in a row, you will
I would like to.
Maybe
yeah,
your
I'd like
brain.
no. Or you will be forced to accept the current position. You know, that is the.
Yeah, I'd like to
Here's
respond
my-
to it real quick, Mills, if you don't mind.
Okay, go for it.
I think 100,000% you're correct in that, like, when my best heroes are banned, I mean, I guess it's just like it's a dual issue of that, like, they're my best heroes and also they have a lot of impact on the game. And so when I'm off of those characters, it's not only going to feel like I'm having less impact because I'm not as good as the other characters, but also because those characters just aren't as strong. Like 100,000%, I agree with that. And I also think that there are a lot of situations at which my lack of hero pool or just like lack of skill doesn't win me games. Like, wholeheartedly not going to disagree with that. My issue is that I've played thousands of ranked games between like League of Legends, Overwatch, Apex, and Rivals, and I have never experienced a matchmaker that feels like so many games are out of my control. And I think in order to be a pro player, or at least good at anything, there has to be some type of self-reflection and ability to like criticize yourself and improve from that. And I've been like working a lot on that recently, of like just assuming everything is my fault, especially like in scrims and in matches and stuff like that, and thinking, what can I learn as a player? And despite all of that like mentality that I've adopted, the matchmaker still feels horrible. Like, I feel like there's so many games where they just get the better players, or they get the better comp, or like, for example, I had a game yesterday where it was full, like, I was on Punisher the entire game, it was a full spam mirror, Rocket Punisher, Jeff, Devil Dino, and my team had a Thor, their team had Dino Groot, and I also had a White Fox. And so my team was better, even though they had the comp advantage, my team was better, and so we were holding on, but the enemy team just adapted, they made their swaps, and we almost lost the game. We just counter swapped, and we just lost. And it's like, what can I do as the Punisher? Like, I could aim better, I could have positioned better, I could have pulled my shotgun out better at this time, I could have ulted, like all these little micro things. Like, maybe a better player wins this game in my position, but it feels really, really bad when the easier solution is my White Fox just plays Rocket 20 minutes ago and we win the game. You know?
It is a real thing.
Yeah.
It is a real thing, and that's the multiplayer experience.
Exactly,
The harsh
yeah.
and truth nuke, okay? This is a harsh truth nuke, okay? I am the only tank in the world that has 2 rank 1 finishes. TTK had one last season, but I am the only tank player that has 2 rank 1 finishes. So at the end of the season, I got the highest rank possible globally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot to say when it comes to actual, like what it feels like in ranked. There is a meta with it. Going into the match, if you truly care about winning, part of the skill set is going to a guy's stream. Let's say I'm playing against Necros, an example, and I see he has in his team, okay, he has animated Lord selected, and you ban it out. Because that is how.
You stream snipe ban people.
Right, you're.
I don't
what?
do that. I don't do that, but maybe I don't care enough about
second.
winning.
This
That's
is
what
a
I should do.
legitimate strategy in pro play. You see they have an animated 4. You already structure a plan, okay? We're going to let him play 4 because it's going to be counter-swappable. You talk to your team, okay, they're going to have a 4. Let's play this in advance. Let's try this and try to play it and abuse him to win the game. That is a legitimate skill expression of the game right now because of the way the matchmaking is designed. Because it's allowed to do it. You know, and that's a reality of the thing. You know, you go against Captain Coach. You know he's going to be on Hulk. You're going to allow him to go Hulk. You're just going to play a counter comp into him, and you're going to win a game against him because it's
You hear that?
right
You hear that, everybody? Way to get rank 1. Stream snipe, stream snipe, stream snipe.
No, that is one part of the skill set. The second part is being adaptable and knowing how to do that.
Have we
And-
played
and
against each
getting
other
your
before?
team to do it.
Have you?
Infinite times.
Have we?
Oh, you and me. I thought me and Light. No, sometimes.
Sometimes.
For sure. Like I always do 5 accounts to top 500 each season.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
Because I
That's
want
funny.
old accounts. I don't want to sit in 40-minute queues on my main account. There, end of season, right? Last day of the season, I want to go for rank 1. I play 8 games in 7 hours.
So
It's there
what?
on my stream. People can watch it.
What are your views on then on like all the tracking sites? Or you must be for that, or is it just like a necessary evil to you?
No, it's a necessary thing to do. Because if you don't do it, you're required to lose more games. So the brain tells you, okay, if you want to win more games, you have to do this thing. Because other people will do it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do it, it's a competitive environment. You have to do it. There's no other way around it. It's not even an evil thing to do at that point. It's just a requirement.
There's
if
no
you want to
shame in
win
it?
more games.
Sure.
We're talking about 80% win rate. Logically speaking, okay, 1/3 of the time you're always going to lose because you're going to have levers, you're going to have throwers, you're going to have an OTP who doesn't refuse to switch, and then the enemy counter swaps you, and it sucks because you can't find a solution with the player you have. Okay, 1/3 of the time you're always going to win because the enemy will have that. Okay, they will have a lever, they will have a thrower, they will have someone that will OTP a shit hero, and you can counter swap him if you find the solution. And 1/3 of the time, your gameplay decides the outcome. And if you calculate those odds, you get a 66% win rate, which might not feel rewarding for most, but that is the optimal win rate to achieve. You can cheat that win rate by playing with a second player, like by duo queuing with someone, which is what most pro players do. They duo with a second pro. Then you cheat that win rate one more time by banning out the enemy players. You know, by making sure they can play their optimal hero, therefore they are on a weaker composition. You make sure that they are more handless in that sense. You know, I like to use that word, and that is a way to cheat that win rate and make sure you have a higher win rate.
I'm just
And it is a legitimate strategy.
furiously typing on this Word document here. How to beat EOMM. I got a big list here.
Wait. I have 2 things
No,
to say.
there is no EOMM.
No.
That's for sure true.
That's the joke.
I have 2 things that I want to say because, I'm kind of partially responding because last pod, trust me, I said there was no EOMM. I kind of debated some people on the pod. I got called a coper, a shill. There was a lot of accusations thrown my way. Okay, so first off, I got 2 things to say, but the first thing is I can respect people like Captain Coach and Light that are high elo players, especially Light, pro player. Y'all play the game a lot. Y'all understand the game. Y'all believe that there's an EOMM or something in the system. I can respect that. Here's the thing.
Wait, hold on.
No. I need to get my full point out.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me get my full point out.
I don't think
No.
this is important.
He
This is
doesn't
really
think that.
important.
No. Okay.
He
I'm
doesn't think
I'm
that. He
like,
just
I'll be
thinks
really,
the
really
game
quick.
is more often out of
Okay.
his control.
I
Okay,
don't care.
okay.
I don't
No.
care if it is real or isn't real.
Okay.
It feels real.
Okay, that's okay.
Just important
fair enough.
distinction.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay,
buddy.
okay.
Sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
Captain Coach actually believes in it, and there's a lot of people that do.
I still do.
Okay, wait. Once
Yeah, go
again,
ahead.
let
Go
me
ahead.
say my point.
go ahead, Base.
All right. So, Yeah, y'all ruined the whole clip for the intro. All right. Anyways, all right, y'all ruined the fucking clip.
Just
Y'all
say it
motherfuckers,
again.
you don't know how to run a podcast. Fuck y'all. All right. Anyways,
Get it out.
Going back to the thing. So I can understand people that are high elo. I understand the game. They grind the game. The problem is, 90% of the people that agree with y'all about EOMM are just players that are just bad. They're bad players. They don't understand. And my entire platform is to making people better. I try to coach people, but you have to understand that people are using the idea, the concept of EOMM as a shield to say, I'm in plat, games are dog shit, it's because of the system, it's not because of me. Or I'm in Grandmaster. The reality is you're just not that good. You're not good enough regardless of the rank you're in. You're not good enough to climb. That's the first part. So when Light says that there's something like EOMM in the game, he's not you. Like, he's not your ass playing fucking Magic in plat. Like, he's not you, and when you use him to justify whatever you're justifying, he's not on your side. He doesn't believe in what you believe. I promise you that. The second thing is, I think that the entire concept of EOMM or something like that EOMM is just like a distraction from like real solutions that I think we all agree on. Like, there are solutions that we all agree about ranked, about performance-based matchmaking, about problems in ranked, about maybe tank tax, or like there are things that we can all universally agree on, or at least semi-agree on, that's a more productive conversation than like constantly like screaming about a boogeyman that we'll never be able to prove or not prove, right? Like, we can all acknowledge that ranked has its problems, and we can all say, hey, these are the solutions that we would like. There are solutions that I think would make ranked better. But we all are just like debating about like this formless entity that we'll never be able to prove one way or another unless NetEase comes to us personally, and no one will believe what they say anyways. So it doesn't fucking matter. It's like a pointless conversation to have when there are ranked problems. Like, I agree with you, Light, 100% that there are ranked problems, and I think we could probably come up with solutions together.
I do think one thing that you said, I can't really fully agree to you, because it is a valid point to think that EOMM is real. Because of the things that I said, right? Because a lot of things are out of your control. So for the casual,
that's
it
not
feels
different than
very
Overwatch
easy to
or
cater
Valorant
to.
or League.
It
right?
is not different. Every game has
their
own skill set, and if the skill set consists out of making the ban in the game, being being more knowledgeable and like having the right idea to counter swap, having those things as your asset, and that defines the skill set of the game to like have a higher win rate. If you're more flexible, you know what to pick at the right time. That unfortunately sucks for some, which makes them feel like EOMM is real.
So let me get this straight then. So you are you yourself have you admit to using third-party resources, right, outside of the game, whether it be a stream or and you have achieved rank 1, as you said. You are a direct beneficiary of like avoiding the in-game. To assert that there's EOMM, you would say there's some sort of in-game algorithm that tracks it. So you're bypassing all of that, are a beneficiary of that system, or of your like way of trying to climb. I just don't see how you can't, like, you are avoiding it actively, trying to counter it, and then denying it. I just don't see how that makes sense. Is the game denying that like matchmaking algorithms exist to keep players on the game longer, and it's that often at the cost of the games, because you're almost like gaming the system in a way, but like refusing to believe that the system needs to be gamed by the denial of you think the game is purely just matchmaking is bad because the game's just imbalanced? Is that it? Like, I'm not sure what the
okay, I understand the question. Okay, the question here is, I cheat the system.
That 30%.
Right? So I skip the idea that EOMM could be real, right? I skip that idea because I know, okay, I have this, I can bypass the rule, I can avoid the issue by like talking to the guy in a nice way and getting him to play, or like a lot of things that I say sometimes as well, right? Like, I am a tank player. I am the best tank player in the world. Okay, there's no one who's better than me. That is my full belief. Most of the people in rank believe that too. So I have the pleasure and the advantage that every single tank player I have in my team who respects me, which is a lot, fill for me. So I never have to fill. That is something a lot of people don't have. That is also cheating the system in some sense.
Yeah, that's very true.
It is not fair to the main casual player base. So going back to that logic, it is valid to think EOM is real. The reality is, though, because there's no opportunity to learn, and every answer can be right and wrong at all opportunities and all things in the game, it does feel like that. But it's only a feeling. That's what I think. And I, as well, maybe have the advantage of like not needing to believe in it. Because it feels, because I don't need to.
Yeah,
Can I
I'd
ask
like to
one more
respond.
question? Okay, I just wanted to know what your advice would be for people then who aren't willing to like turn on their mic like and communicate with everybody or look at the whatever tracker site. It
is
just get
different
good?
skill sets. There can be any skill set. It can be like one of my skill set is getting the people to do what I want. First, I have the advantage of being a pro, right? So a lot of people in my rank respect.
It's really interesting,
right? So I have more people that will vote for me. I have some people on my team, that would say, okay, it's trust me. Some people will like double down on the opinion.
I get the
and
opposite
say, okay,
that
you
happens.
should swap.
I think, Coach, I think you create your own EOMM sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
One second, right? I have that. I have that benefit where I can say, okay, can you swap 4? And then someone else will speak up for me and say, okay, I do think 4 is not good here. You should listen to trust me because it's trust me. That is a benefit that I have. That's a skill set that can be gained, but also there's a skill set that can be gained in a different way. If you're more knowledgeable in the game and you try to explain the people your reasoning, maybe in one of the third cases that wins your game, they might actually believe you and do the swap you want. Then the problem is, because you haven't learned the proper way and you don't know everything about the game, that might lead into them not being successful. And then you once again have to break down to them, okay, why is this not working? Why is this working? So it becomes this habit of like, where is the limit of what you can reach with the person's mentality? Because if you breach too much, they will be throwing. So it is very hard. It is a part of a skill set, and unfortunately, people don't want that to be part of the skill set.
Social engineering.
It's
social
engineering.
It's a lot of
is
that's
part
profound.
of winning ranked games,
That's very
and that makes people feel like EOM is more real. Because social engineering is a big part of winning games.
Yeah, I mean, any one person can throw your game. Any one
Exactly.
person.
I can't disagree with this. I can't. Like it's no, it's yeah, no, I mean
I'd like to respond.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think like everyone should operate under the assumption that it's not real because it will lead to the most self-improvement. Now that doesn't take away from the general feeling of like the nature of the matchmaking being terrible, and like why I've been a sponsor of it has been like how do I word it? It's kind of been like propaganda in a sense of like the matchmaker in this game compared to any other game that I've played more consistently feels like it's out of my hands, regardless of the mindset that I adopt. Now, whether or not my perception is actually relevant to the accuracy of EOM's existence doesn't actually matter. I think a lot of people have the similar feeling to where I do, where like a lot more games than other games that they've played in the past feel out of their hands, regardless of the mentality that you approach it from. And I think like a lot of things that they could do to remedy this issue are things like removing double bans, being more harsh on people who are toxic and throwing. Like I know, for example, I don't even bother reporting people. Like I've sent Netties clips of people actively calling me the N-word. Like I have it in 4K. I've sent them clips. Nothing happens ever. Same thing with like cheaters are allowed to cheat on ladder for 8+ hours. Nothing happens. Like I literally had a game thrown 2 days ago. Some guy just threw my game because I was black. Like, like that's not something that like everyone has to deal with, of course. And that doesn't happen all the time. Like that's very rare. But like stuff like that doesn't happen in other games, like at all. If you type anything wrong in League, insta-ban. Like you're just timed out. You can't type in, like I could tell someone to kill themselves in Fortnite over and over and over again. Just drop the Fortnite part. I can't say that on Twitch, but like, you get what I'm saying.
Right.
And nothing will happen. And like this type of behavior is like allowed, and like that being harder on like people who are really toxic, throwers, racists, like all this type of stuff will make the experience feel better. And all that contributes to this feeling that the matchmaker is a miserable experience.
That is all true. That is all true, but then the same thing can also be true, which is the problem that who decides who's a thrower? At what point someone is throwing?
Yeah, no. That is true. Let me clarify on that, because that's important.
The opportunity to learn is just too tight.
Yes. I'm talking about the people who pick Spider-Man and actively run off the map. Like very, very clear. It's subjective. This person's throwing the game,
Okay.
not bad play.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
like,
but those people would very quickly probably turn into something that's more akin to soft throwing the second the rules change. You know, it's
yeah, I
hard.
mean
Those
maybe, but
people-
that's
yeah,
a de-incentive
exactly.
for them. Like that's like annoying.
Right,
Like they'd rather just
right.
get the game over with fast.
Right,
But
right.
if they have
No,
to
I
like
agree. They should
like
do it,
balance,
100%.
yeah, like I literally like bro, every single day I'll drop 10, 20 games around there if we're not scrimming more because I get to play more, and like at least 5 of the 20 games I'll play, someone will pick Angela and speed blitz off the map. Like you know, like. Or
Right.
we'll just win the game in 5 minutes, or we'll lose in 5 minutes. And those are the types of games, trust me,
Yeah.
where it's like, I want
I
to
get
have
it.
this mentality.
Yeah.
But
Of-
what is the limit? Because I will tell you something. I have thrown lots of games over the past of the year. Have I done so that many times? Probably not more than anyone else. Okay.
Mhm.
I am one of the most consistent players when it comes to rank. I know a lot of pros that throw a lot of rank games, but do they do it less consistent than other people? For sure. Can you argue from a professional opinion, if I play with Captain Coach and he's on Hulk and he's not playing the way I want, he's not enabling the team, he's consistently making sure we have less resources in the fight by the way he plays, is that actively throwing the game? Probably, in my opinion, it is. So that is the point that I can validly argue from because I have a different perspective of the game. Now
Yeah.
that becomes complicated once more if you look at it from all the perspective, because how do you judge it properly? Because everyone has a different approach to judging. I have to
Yeah.
use you as an example.
Yeah,
here because
100
I,
yeah, yeah,
I see that you
100%.
have a hook profile picture. Okay, listen. man.
yeah.
good.
Listen, bro, this is
Well,
nothing
here's the
personal.
thing.
We get the
No,
point,
no,
though.
One of the things I think I don't know if y'all agree with or not, but I think that Rivals doesn't treat its competitive format all that competitive. Like they don't really
Yeah.
hold people to high standards. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like there's a ton of pros that just throw games with no penalty, no nothing. And we've seen like even in Overwatch, we saw very strict penalties for players that would throw or do things. Like
Yeah.
there were players that when they said keep yourself safe, and they got fucking banned in pro matches because they said that, or they get fined, or they get banned from throwing games. Like they get actual penalties that they actually care about, but like it doesn't really feel like competitive. Oftentimes is actually competitive. It feels like quick
Yeah,
play plus.
bro,
It
I
doesn't
can't
feel
imagine.
like competitive.
Bro, you
I-
could pick
I
Spider-Man on
100%
any pro
agree.
team, run off the map 50 times. If you do that in Overwatch, you're getting fined $1,000 and banned for
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
week.
or
Like,
you're getting banned in the next
and
Ignite tournament
that's-
because like why aren't pros held to like a standard?
That's what I'm
that,
talking about. Trust me,
Like
when I'm talking about
but
throwing.
it's not just pros. Like
It's
everyone
valid.
should be held to this
Yeah.
standard. Like you have to try. You have to at the very least try. You
Yeah.
can't just.
It's not a
run it
matter
down
of
or
like
say a slur or
how
do
is this
any of this stuff.
person. It's not a matter of like how is this person using their cooldowns? Are they throwing the game based on this metric? Blah blah blah. Like this is like very very clear.
It is.
This
It
person
is
is
super
running it.
valid.
Yeah.
It is super valid. The thing is, I go back to it, right? Pros will do it less frequently, but of course they should be role models,
Yeah.
right? Because
100%.
you underestimate how many people throw, right? And as I said, the defining term of throwing can lead to different outcomes. As I said, throwing, in my opinion, already means I have a 4 OTP, and when I tell him to switch, he's not switching, he's throwing, in my opinion. I will report him. That is something.
I mean, I
that is
fucking-
my
I have
that is
fucking-
my mentality line that where I draw it.
Right.
Now the question is, where do people actually will, as you said, right? Where is the line for pro players to, like, where's the line for pro players? Because one bad game for one pro player, now it can be, we have infinite pro players in the scene,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Most of the pro players play for full passion. I am one of the fortunate one that don't even make that much money, but I make enough to have a living, okay? Most of the pros, or all of the pros, don't make more than 5K. 5K is the salary that one team only makes. Most of the teams make 3K less, or like not even, right? Only the top 16 teams make more than 2K. I don't know how much you make, Light, but I'm going to. I mean, I probably know. So it is like that. It is a full passion project, you know. So if that is the case, you know, why should there be so much professionalism be held towards pro if the accountability is set with such a low standard for them in the first place?
It's kind of the sacrifice.
All I'm saying, there's someone that will take your spot that's more professional if you're not.
It's kind of
I'm
the
just saying,
sacrifice
like-
that we have to
like
make.
it-
Trust me.
it's
It's
a
Yeah,
like-
it's a
compet-
passion
competitive-
anyway, right?
yeah, like even though like
Yeah.
we don't make like crazy amount of money. Like you're gonna make way more money doing anything with your life.
Yeah.
or being a content creator, but it's not
Yeah.
about the money for most of it. I know it's not like that for me. Like I make, it's not a secret that Nightmare would pay less than Navi, or that like I make less from pro play than you do, especially with like your tournament winnings and stuff like that. It's like I do it because I have a very, very strong passion as a competitor, and I like really believe in myself that if I grind hard enough and work hard enough, I can be successful. And you don't get another opportunity to compete in esports in your
And now,
20s, like whenever I get
now
older,
you
it'll
said
be.
all of that, because now I'm coming to my point. Now
Yeah.
you said all of that. Now you play 5 hours of scrim. Okay, you have 1 hour VOD review. You play 4 hours of scrim. You get shit on by I don't know sentinels for 4 hours in a row, or 100 feasts going Iron Man in scrims, like not
Yeah.
taking you guys serious because you're NTMR. I'm
Yeah.
using you as an example. Okay, now you go into ranked. Okay, and at one point you limit this reach because you care. You want to win. You don't want to waste your time when you play ranked. Okay, at least I don't. Okay, I treat it like that. I want to win. I go in ranked. I see a 4 OTP. I try to convince him because I'm getting counter swapped, as you said earlier, right? They just went Dino Groot. Dino Groot is objectively better than Dino 4. Okay, so now you're in that position where you will tell the 4, okay, I can't handle this. I'm just not going to care. I'm just going offline. And that is then the throwing point, where now you are the thrower, but originally the 4 would be the thrower. So we have a very hard way to define what actually is throwing. The same
Yeah.
way that many people can't define meta, same way many people can't define when something is good. The variety, the bans, the networking that leads into it,
Yeah.
what makes throwing, what doesn't make throwing, the breach of the mentality you can take people to, by asking them, okay, can you swap? And like if you ask too harshly, they will throw. Like all of that caters to that, and it sucks.
Yeah,
That
I don't
is-
think
that
anybody
is the sucky
disagrees
part.
with you, bro.
Well, I think we agree, but I think
Yeah.
we're running into the same thing about like debating about EOMM in the clouds. It's like let's find what we agree. Like let's find the things that we all can agree on instead of like I do agree with you that that's really a gray area, like the throwing and the pros and stuff like that. But the things that have happened to Light in ranked and the people that have thrown his game because of all those reasons, like that's obviously like those people should be IP banned, perma banned, on a list,
Yeah,
never
there's
allowed to
also
play ranked
stuff like
again.
that. There's also
Right.
cheating, cheating should be
Yeah.
IP banned. But
Yeah,
then again,
100%.
right, they cheat from a center in like India, and now all the Indian people that want to play from the center can't. That's like also a valid argument for them to not IP ban that.
Right. I mean,
So it's there's like multiple problems connected to certain stuff.
Yeah, I don't think anyone disagrees with you. Trust me on like throwing being obscure and like how do you define that. I
Right.
think that there are very clear cases, and those are the ones that we should focus and isolate in on. But I do think that everyone in this call and everyone in the community can agree that stuff like double bans has to go.
it's so
harsher
frustrating. Right.
punishments on people who are super toxic or like objectively running off the map, 50 deaths per 10 on Spider-Man.
Like
That
it
has
should
to
be like
go.
a 3 strikes. Like if you say like very offensive things like more than 3 times, you should just lose for a year. You can't talk in comms for a year. I don't care.
Yeah,
If you're not gonna
just
say
make it
anything
very
that's
harsh.
right.
If you're a pro player and you're caught like running off the map 50 times, like it's not up for interpretation, like you just are fined, like make it like Overwatch. I think that'd be very, very good. All the other stuff where you could argue like the more obscure the system is plotted against you and forcing you to lose, like all that other stuff. It doesn't matter if that's the case or not. Like if you're a good enough player, you can get to a high rank. Like trust me, like Saipe. I'm sure there's like a ton of other players who are like Stravery, for example. I'm pretty sure he's rank 1 right now, and when he was playing before, he was always high rank. Like Tap back in the day as well. He had a bunch of accounts top 10 too. So like you can definitely overcome it. It's just a matter of like, let's focus in on the stuff that is objective first and fix those issues first, and then see how it feels, and then we can go from there. I think that's the common ground, Mills.
Right. I 100% agree. And I as a philosophy, I like it when we work on all the things that we can agree with, and then like we can like as a community have the same opinion on something. Because it's more likely that NetEase does something if there's an opinion that we agree on, rather than us like trying to go straight to the controversial stuff and just like battle and debate on this like stuff that like. Then when NetEase looks at that, it's not just like 100 people saying the same thing. It's 100 people saying something different, and then it's just like they're just gonna do nothing. Is what they're gonna
Bro, I
do.
swear, Captain Coach needs to smile more. I swear, like, I feel bad sitting in the call with him. He looks so red in the face and so angry all the time. He's about to crash out at all of us. It's actually going to happen. I know it. I swear he needs a different filter or a different lighting or something. No way, this is the real face. This is
It's
legit Hulk in real
part
life.
of the it's his brand. Okay,
It's
his
not
brand.
only
sir.
Hulk in game, it's also Hulk in real life.
Yeah,
Look at
it's
him.
his brand. It's his.
Well, I do think it's fluid. Like I agree.
Okay.
I think like obviously if you flame somebody in lower ranks for not strange portaling, like in bronze, I mean it probably.
I mean, I don't have a problem with
Right.
flame like that. Like that's not the flame that I think that we should stand
Yeah,
against at least.
yeah,
Like,
no,
like,
if
I don't
you-
care. Flaming is fine, but
What
like
the point I wanted to get to though was I think for me personally, like you can't really blame the player for like for like a throw when they're just getting to the rank they got using the same system that everybody else did.
Yep.
So and that comes back to just like balance, which we already kind of went over, and like making things more skill expressive. So I think like we agree on definitely a lot of things.
Yeah.
Do you think the game's too rock paper scissors? Trust me. Do you think it's too rock paper scissors where it's just like pick like I mean
if you have that many bands, then the game becomes very rock paper scissors. Yes.
sure.
Because as I said, right, the skill set is legitimate, and the one way to avoid double bans in general is to stream snipe the opponent in their ban phase. That is one way to bypass that problem. And
Yeah, 'cause
it becomes part of the skill set, unfortunately. If you don't do it, now the opponent will have a natural advantage. Will it outweigh the entire match? No, it's like 5% of it. But the 5% stacks up in every area you have it. 5% can be anywhere, in the matchup, in the draft, what you play, where you play, how you act, to your team. All of these little things can stack up percentages. And then it will result in an outcome that will be either favorable or less favorable, depending on the rule I said earlier, right, with the 66%. Or like one third of the time you always lose, one third of the time or you always win, and one third of the time you decide the outcome with your performance.
Yeah, I mean it's why I've been kind of just in my content just been preaching balance. To me is I just want everything to get a little closer, a little like even if it means homogenizing things a little bit, just so there's kind of some semblance of like there's less parity between things that are good and bad. And that's why like like on this podcast we always talk about the balance. It's the number one thing. I think we all hold it on like a pedestal as like the most important thing. And I'm just in my head I just can't stop thinking about Rocket as like the buffs he got. To me, one of the lowest skill ceiling character in the game gets to maybe a rank where he becomes less useful, but you have situations right where that like someone could just only play Rocket, get to a very high rank because of how uninteractive he is, and then all of a sudden like he gets banned or someone goes Phoenix, and then now you're stuck in that game where the game quality just feels terrible. And I think if they could figure out ways to just tone that down a little bit instead of going in the opposite direction, to me that's what I'm looking for the game's future when we talk about like balance. So I guess it wasn't really a question, but we got anything else?
It's a valid point. Like Rocket right now is second best character to Gambit. Like why when Gambit is banned, people play Rocket. There's a reasoning for it. It's because it's harder to dive. You have a respawn beacon when your Luna gets dived. You have more room of error to abuse in that moment. Your ultimate is very strong to burst the tank, right? As we said. So talking about that, right? And it's a low skill ceiling hero. So where does the actual impact come from what Light wants, right? Because if you play Rocket and enemy play Rocket, how do you outperform the enemy Rocket? And then it comes to what I said, right? You gotta now have maybe more effort in networking with your team.
You get on the Skittles
Because your
stall
character
spots.
does less.
Yeah.
So now networking becomes significantly more important, which will maybe make your experience worse because you don't want to do that. When now it becomes more important, if you play a different hero or you have Black Cat and DD open, now networking and being more flexible might not be that big of an issue because you can avoid that step because you have a different win condition now, So that actually becomes less of a skill set now. So it and every single game you have is going to be different because every ban phase is going to be different. You're going to have a different team every single time. You're going to have different players. You're going to play in a different matchup. And now everyone has to act accordingly in the right situation to make it working. And it's going to be very hard. That's what it is. So the overall ranked experience feels bad because of that reason. Because no one has opportunities to learn. Because you can only learn with what you have at hand right now. And if you use other people to learn from, they're different. Their opinions is going to be different than what you have. Like as I said, right? Most of the people right now listening, and as I said, one skill set is stream sniping the opponent. In the ban phase, that is not an option the plat players or diamond players will have. Because there's not going to be streamers or they don't know about them. They don't know about the way how to counter swap people. So you have to have some kind of different skill set in each rank as well. And like as I said as well, you also don't have the opportunity of telling people to swap, and people will like agree with you and say, okay, you trust me, I will swap. I'll like tell this guy to swap as well, you know, and get on the same page with him. That is something you guys don't have. So that you have to have a new different skill set, and like maybe networking becomes even more important, and knowing how to talk to people psychological wise. As hard as it sounds, that is part of the skill set at that point if you play Rocket. Because what big of a difference can you make to the enemy Rocket if it's not about placing the res beacon better, placing the ultimate better, or like having a better lineup for your right click? And most of the skill ceiling is just not going to be in your control.
Now,
And
is
that's
that I'm gonna bring it all around here? Is that form of balancing a game viable for a long-term competitive esports scene?
That totally depends on what the community wants. Right now, the community, as I said, I made a tweet. I had so many death threats. It's insane.
What?
Like,
I haven't even got death threats on my tweets.
No, but I got them,
Not
right? Because
yet.
they
No,
said,
I'm kidding.
you're
I'm
shit
kidding.
pro, you know, you're shit pro, your opinion doesn't matter. And I said Dino is unhealthy for the longevity of the game, right? I said it in day one, right? It was
Yeah, I retweeted it. I was
unfortunate timing,
engagement baiting, but yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, it wasn't
No.
engagement day. It was my
No.
general
I
opinion.
responded to you with an engagement bait.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm saying, right? It happened.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is a different tweet though.
Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. I did get
It's
the
the
wrong
wrong
one.
one.
I'm sorry.
Um,
There you
no,
go.
what I was referring to,
Yeah,
right,
that one.
is
Yeah.
that I said Dino wasn't playable in a player base. It's a low skill effort hero. It makes the gameplay very miserable because it's not up for you to decide. And as I said, most of the games I win is not because I pick Dino and I outperform the enemy Dino. It's because I make the team work better than the enemy team because I have better networking skills when I play the Dino. When I play Cap, an example, I outperform the enemy Cap most of the time because I have the better skill set. So it shifts. The dynamic shifts to some extent, and that is part of the skill set. What makes a player better is the consistency in understanding when what is important, and that balance might not be healthy for the longevity of the game. But right now, the players want a casual community, so it is what Lights also said. Characters that are harder to play should be better in the game, and I agree to that take as well. If
Yeah,
you want a longer longevity game, characters that are easy to play shouldn't be better than characters that are harder to play. Just because I also value skill set in the game and being better on the characters you play more valuable than networking in the game. And as I said, if you play Rocket versus Rocket, most of the skill set comes outside of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that a lot of players are going to be reluctant to hear. Light, did you want to give your
Fair.
closing thoughts? And then we're going to ask you both what hero release do you want to see added to the game to close it out. I see Coach Mills, he's dying of allergies over there.
Yeah, I actually am. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
getting my ass.
Is it late? I swear it's going on for very long.
No,
but it's
no,
good.
I just have bad allergies to whatever. I don't know. The air.
No, it's just great to have common ground on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
think-
think it was a good conversation and good talk overall. I don't want it to stretch it too long. I also
Yeah.
know that I took a lot of time, and I maybe have overspoken to a lot of you guys, and
No,
I apologize for that.
It was
It's your
very
first
unique
experience
perspective.
to our
Okay.
audience. So like, they've heard all of
Yes.
our takes, but they've never heard yours. So it was really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I really appreciated your point of view. It was definitely different than a lot of things we have heard on this podcast, and very realistic too, which I did not expect coming from someone who's like found your success in like the highest levels. You know, it's been very different from even like content creators to other like pros, and it's definitely been unique.
Yeah, it's really nice to have a podcast like this where pro players are given the opportunity to bridge the gap
Yes.
between us and casuals, because casual players, like I imagine, aren't like super into pro player streams. Like the most popular rival streamers are not pro players for the most part. Like Saipe, TTK are the exceptions, of course, but like Flats, J3, so on and so forth are
Yep.
like the most popular. Somju, and I could go on and on and on. And so this like actually gives us the ability to like tell casual players like we don't hate you, we don't not think of you at all at our takes of the game. We understand where you're coming from a lot. It's just we play this game for a living, 8+ hours every single day, and you don't. So like we probably know what's better for the game than you do. It's like I'm not going to go into
Yeah,
a.
it's hard.
I'm
right?
not gonna
Because
go into NASA's rocket facility and tell them how to build rockets. You know, like I like space, it's cool, but I'm not gonna tell you how to build the rocket. Like that's your thing. You know.
But the problem is the pros also don't know most of the time because you just said like what you would want fixed, but again that would cater only to a certain part of the community.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
How about I
What
say?
I
How about
think-
I word it real quickly? How about I word it?
Okay.
We are more likely to know better than
Okay.
a
Yeah.
casual player.
Yeah,
That's a better
I
way
can
of
see
putting it.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. We are
No,
more
I
likely
agree.
to catch on faster to
Right.
stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I know, Captain, because you said that we wanted to ask them about what hero they want in the game, but I actually wanted to ask something similar. I wanted to ask Trust Me and Light, and I think I might have already asked you this, but I'm asking you again. From a different game, what ultimate or ability do you want in Rivals? I know you played a lot of Overwatch, Trust Me, but you've also played other games. Like, if you could pick any ultimate ability, you just drag that into Rivals. What ability or ultimate
From
ability?
any game,
Any game. Any
I
game
think
at all.
I think Mordekaiser's ult would be awesome. It'd be really toxic and cancer, but it'd be cool. It would be cool.
Welcome to the Shadow
Like,
Realm,
are we
yeah.
talking healthy or cool? Because just cool would be Mordekaiser for sure.
I mean, the game is not gonna get any healthier. I'm not gonna lie to you. So you might as well get cool. Like,
Yeah,
it might
yeah.
as well
Then
be fucking
then
cool.
Mordekaiser, like
You know,
It's not getting healthier.
Spanish.
that'd be Professor X and his little mind psychic. He like traps
Oh,
you in
you
his
take
head.
Yeah.
him into the realm,
That'd be
and then
sick.
in the realm, he's standing and he's fucking like kicking your shit in.
Yeah, I
You
just
know? Witch.
I really like these. Maybe this is like different from like an ultimate ability, but I like these characters that are just like very, very big, masculine, like just walk at me and you die type of characters. And I think that we're missing like this character that just like points at you and like you're dead. Like right, I guess tank pool, but tank pool's like super goofy. Like I just want like a Mordekaiser character in this game. That's kind of why I like Daredevil so much. Is his like his whole aesthetic and design, and like his voice and the ult and everything is just awesome. I want like another cool factor character like that.
Oh yeah, I'm
Hell yeah.
waiting for Thanos and Beta Red Bill would be cool.
Yeah.
What about you,
I
Trust Me?
also want to say one thing. I don't demean casuals or anything like that. I trained my brain specifically to wire differently when it comes to like how I approach learning in the game. Like many people, like as I said, I trained it specifically to like, make sure I get everything possible to be able to play and perform better in the game. Many people don't have that wire in their head, but they can train that, you know, but many people don't want to do that. So it's also no shame in doing that. Okay, I just want to make that very clear. Like when I talk to people, I don't want to demean them for being low rank or anything like that, because I said sometimes shit plats, you know, shit low elo MRC players, you know. Well, I don't mean it like that, you know. They're obviously putting in effort and they care, you know, and if you truly care and you have passion, you're fully allowed to live out your passion. Obviously, it's your choice, you know.
Right.
So I also don't want to like say that. Second, what I would want, and I used to be a huge lover of Realm Royale. That game was so good.
Oh, Realm
Like,
Royale.
it's a
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very old
I love
game,
watching the old
but-
school Defran streams on Realm
Yes,
Royale.
yes.
Defran was
Defran,
fucking
Realm
farming the
Royale,
hell out of
I
everybody.
used to like
Oh
play
my
against
God.
him, you know, stream snipe him. I was one of those guys. Okay, listen.
Oh, let's
Listen,
go.
we talk a bit too much about it, but I used to do that, you know, and then you kill him after you die to him 5 times, you know. Or
Let's
all
go.
starting to
Hey,
make
you got
sense.
that. You only
You
clipped
died to
the
him
one.
5 times because it was
Yes,
just
you
infinitely
can.
better.
It's
What
all
I would
starting to
want
make
is, I would
sense.
want the ability from the assassin with the like grenade that you throw in to boop someone up in the air, and then
Oh,
you
and
get
you
like
can
a
headshot
one-shot
them.
sniper, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
That would be so cool.
Like Widow
That's
kick.
ultimate.
Because he
Widow
can
kick.
boop him. He can use it to boop himself, right, and boop the enemy
Yes.
up, right? But either
Yes,
or.
yes.
Oh,
Like,
I
it
think,
just
I
I
makes
actually
it
love abilities. Once again, decision-making abilities. It's like you can use
Yeah.
it for mobility. You could use it to play make. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
I think a Sojourn ult
That's the
type
character I
of
would
type of
want.
ult would be cool too. There's not one of those yet. I would like to see them add more DPS where the ultimate is like an upgrade to the base kit like Magic or like Iron Fist like Daredevil. I think those are really, really cool.
Mhm.
And they're much more interactive, and there's like a lot more skill expression from the player as well. Like when I play Psylocke and I ult, there's like 0 skill other than like the timing and the positioning. Or like Starlord, there's 0 skill except the timing and the positioning.
I want like a fast-moving projectile character that is very momentum and bunny hopping based. Like think of like the old like Quake arenas, like where you can like
Oh,
shoot
yeah.
the ground
Yeah,
and
like
like just
grenades,
bounce and
yeah.
bounce and bounce off.
Pace
Like, what
pot
if you
Pete,
could bounce
maybe?
off? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like you could bounce off of walls. and you could bounce off the ground, and you don't take damage from your own guns or like very little, and like I think it'd be really sick.
Yeah.
Or if anyone's played Tribes Ascend, that game was peak, like crazy mobility.
You guys were giving me ideas last week when Paz said to have like parts of the map you could interact with and like be a part of.
Oh,
just- I was just I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
why I'm
like-
just coming to my head right now is like the jutsu from Naruto with Shikamaru, like the shadows, just like moving around the map like on a 2D plane and being able to like pop out and
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that would
wait,
be a character.
Going in the ground though, like as a shadow would be sick. I don't know who that would be, but
Maybe instead of like a
like on
mortal,
the wall.
you could. I think there should definitely be a tank that has some type of like, their ult is like, I'm taking this space and locking you in with me. So like a
Yeah, I
Camille
love it. I
or
love
like
it, yeah.
what's the
Jarvan.
Jarvan, yeah, or like what's her name? Aura, Oriella.
You could also
Aurora,
trap.
Aurora.
You could like trap a support, and like if they want to commit the support ult to keep themselves alive, like they're not protecting their team.
Yeah, like
But like
let's
you're out of
say
the fight too.
you jump on them, you ult them, the ult pushes everyone out away, like out of the radius. Like let's say like a 20-meter push, and then it creates like a field where there's a barrier, and in order to like do anything, you have to go into the barrier, but it's like a Su ult, and like when you go into it, you're slowed, and you can't be shot from outside, and it's just like you and the tank.
What if when you go into it you can't leave?
Yeah, or
Like,
something like
yeah,
that.
like, that'd
Like
be
any
sick.
type of
Yeah,
like
yeah, like a
dome type
dome.
of mechanic
Yeah.
like that, I think this
It'd be
game
really sick.
is missing. And
Please
that'd
just
be
don't
really
make it
cool.
like Doorman alt though.
Don't make it Doorman. Doorman
Don't
is
make
the
it Doorman.
corniest. Yeah, it is just the corniest piece of garbage of all time. No one likes Doorman.
I started playing Deadlock by the way. Like, wait,
Yeah?
I wonder if you could guess my main. I don't. It's
It's
high
not-
skill ceiling.
Okay, so it's not Abrams.
hint.
It's not Mokril. Thank
Nah,
God.
nah.
Is it like that type of like bruiser type of character?
Well,
Oh.
yeah, I guess now, yeah, you kind of build in that way, yeah.
Oh, I haven't played Deadlock in months, so if the
Oh.
build changed. Let me guess though.
Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead and guess.
so it's not Shiv.
No, it is Shiv.
It is Shiv. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, that was gonna be my next guess.
That was a good guess. Good
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm obsessed. I love Shiv. I'm not like crazy about Deadlock, but you were one of the people who were talking about it and kind of convinced me to give it a try, and then I probably have like over 100 games on it now.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely
been
a
fun.
different. It's a different flavor. I don't like MOBAs. I can't. I don't know. My brain is too. I need dopamine now. I like the faster
you're-
pace of the
yeah.
games. I like the constant team
Yeah.
fights. MOBAs are just like you have to constantly build up your power every game. If someone else misplays somewhere, you're punished harder because they're like. You could basically create a monster on the other side of the map, and then regardless of how you played your lane, he just comes over and just puts you in a coffin and like a body bag, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right, oh, we lost.
That's a nice thing about Rivals.
Yeah.
But trust me, where can people come and support you if they want to watch your content, if they want to follow your streams or your content? What do you want to promote?
I mean, well, I don't know. Like, if I want to promote anything, I think there's a few things we can agree on. First, pro players need to be better role models. Okay, we need pro players to be more engaging towards the casuals, more inviting, more being approaching to learning them, and also being accepted, being refused, and like being denied. Like, I also can't handle well after 8 hours of playing the game to have some random Celestial 2 tell me you're wrong. You know, I can't handle it well. You know, it's true. I tell him, bro, you suck. Get out of my game, you know? And then I have multiple people supporting me, and it will be a miserable experience for him, even though, you know, he is definitely in the wrong. Because I would be theoretically correct, but it's not the right approach. Right, the right approach needs to be, I need to be a better role model. I just have to suck it up, go next, and just act accordingly. Does that happen all the time? Definitely not. It needs to be towards that. Second, we need better content creation in this game. We need better content creation. We need help from Netties. They need to give us a workshop that we can bring more casuals towards the game. We need to make fun, interactive YouTube videos, you know, with new kinds of idea. Maybe GeoGuessr in the game. Maybe some quiz shows in Marvel Rivals that pull in some casuals. You know, have more people do interesting podcasts, talk about the game. You know, upgrade
slow
that
down.
current. Upgrade that
Whoa,
current.
whoa, whoa. No
No,
competition.
no, you
We're
guys
good,
get
we're
it.
good.
More, right? You guys to think about the competition.
Yeah.
No, but you guys get it, right? Like more
Yeah.
competition also
Yeah.
means more
course.
people to cater towards, right?
Right.
Largening that player base is a good basis. And now we come to what I would promote is I want to fill that gap of analysis because I think that's been lacking. I think a lot of the knowledge in the game is being forgotten because it doesn't matter, because you can bypass a lot of knowledge with like in-game stuff. You can bypass a lot of knowledge by avoiding problems, by skipping the problems, by banning stuff that you don't want to play against, and you don't have to face your brain to challenge that. And that's fine, but if people truly care about getting better, I want to host a passion project university because I can't handle coaching. I have 16 people asking me for coaching every single day. You know, I can't handle that. I don't have enough time. I can't do individual coaching, so I want to create a subscription-based university where I will teach the game of what is the most important, a routine they can follow to get better, what is important as a skill set to have and acquire, and how to use like the game to their advantage rather than just being at the disposal of the game most of the time. So that is what I would promote. That will start happening hopefully soon. I'm building the website right now with a friend, so it will depend. It will take time, but that's what if you allow me to promote that. You can
of course.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, where can people find you? Like on X? Do you want to like when you post that and announce it?
You can just search up "Trust Me" and you will find my name.
Gotcha.
Like with a Q, like in the okay.
What about you, Light? Where can people find you?
Light PK on all socials, live every day. Thanks for watching.
Let's go.
Thanks for the support. Thanks for
Let's
having me
go.
on.
And
It was a
next time
pleasure, guys.
Lex, next time I raid you, it better not be a fucking rerun. God damn it!
I did that too, actually.
I literally
Oh,
got,
thanks, boys.
I got hosted by 2 people right when I was about to end, and I was like, oh, I got a lot of viewers. Let's bring him to Light, and he's fucking rerunning, and I'm like, God damn it! I just rolled up with like 150 people, and you were just not there.
I appreciate it, though, Beast.
It was funny, though.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, boys. Trust me, it was a
That's
pleasure to
it.
talk to you. It's great to get like a
Yeah.
perspective from a top pro as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Trust me, and thanks for coming
No,
back.
thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm so glad it wasn't before the block. Like, if you guys can tell the viewers the story or like show a DM here, I was completely lost. I thought this was like 7 hours ago.
No,
No,
good.
you're good.
All right, well, thank you. See you
Next time I'll know.
Peace,
Bye.
boys. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
Okay, wait, just a second before y'all dip. It has to finish uploading. It's at 99%. Okay, trust me, you're good. Light, you're good. Okay, we're all good. Thank y'all for coming by, guys. Thank you for coming on the
of
pod.
course.
You're welcome back anytime. But I'll talk to you later. Captain could stick around, but thank y'all for coming, Light, and trust me.
Do you know when this will be uploaded so I can upload it on my channel?
Wednesday. Wednesday should be the day. I'll let you know if it's delayed at all.
Okay,
But
that's actually really good because I'm kind of afraid because I flaunted my credit card sometimes through the thing, and I feel like I have to like disable it now.
Oh no, here. I don't
wanna
know
double check?
when you did that, but
I
I can
didn't
try to
notice
find
it.
I didn't
No,
notice it.
I'm saying probably no one will notice it, but it just did happen. So I'm going to call my bank tomorrow and get a new credit card.
Okay. Oh well, yeah. I guess Light is streaming. But
Because
yeah,
I did it on
okay.
accident.
Okay.
Oh,
good.
that's right.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I mean for the better, right? Like I know that I went like through this, right, and I turned it around and like showing a few numbers, you know, and it's like, oh shit, no. Like there might be a world, right? Obviously the cam shouldn't record it, and it's like people shouldn't be able to read it, but
You might be able to just pause it on your phone, but yeah. You could do the. Should be.
No, I have to get a new credit card anyway. So it's
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Because this one doesn't like the chip here doesn't register anymore. So
I never actually asked. Where are you from? Trust me.
Germany,
Germany.
Alemania. I have a huge language barrier in English. I'm very sorry for all the English viewers in your chat. They must.
Oh,
No, I
no,
should have asked you that on the pod. My dad spent 10 years in Germany in the military. Sometimes he randomly speaks German.
Yeah, something.
His
something
first
that I
wife
would-
was in Germany. But yeah.
I wish I
First of
I
me.
clarified a little bit more because of the language barrier. I think if I just kind of assumed that my ideas were going to be interpreted correctly, but I think like whenever I started to be more specific, it helped like a lot of the conversation flow.
Yeah.
And we started to agree like a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely kind of like looped around to the same outcomes of topics, but that usually means we're like all in agreement and we can kind of move on. Like we kind of came back to it like, okay, you know, the same kind of things, which is like, that's okay to happen too. Like I thought it was a really good discussion. You guys, I appreciate y'all coming on, and yeah, like if you ever need anything from me or Coach Mills, you know, just let us know.
Just let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
All right, boys.
I mean, we will find each other. You guys gotta get some online when I'm streaming, then I can send over a raid. No, raid army.
Well,
that's why I'm about to go stream right now. So
Really?
I'll drop you a
Yeah.
raid, Beast.
I'm a late night guy.
Ooh.
Wait,
See?
let me follow your Twitch. Trust me, MR.
yeah. Thanks for coming on, Light. It's
Yeah.
been sick.
Yeah, of course, buddy. I'll catch you later, Coach.
Yep. Peace,
drop
peace.
that raid. I gotta go eat. Or
Oh.
not that raid, that stream. Pull up stream up so I can raid you.
Oh shit. Sure.
Oh shit, I
Appreciate it, big
left. Yeah, no problem, bro.
All right, well, I'm out then too, guys.
Yeah. See you later, boys.
I just disappeared on accident.
No, wait, did you die? What happened to your stream? I thought you
I just
left.
closed the tab on accident.
Yeah.
Oh, no, all good, all good. We're ending anyways. Thank you, guys.
Right.
See you guys.
See you.
All right. Hold on, let me see if I can get my camera to work now. Boom, there we go. All right. That was fire. What'd you guys think of the pod? Did you like it? I think it's the first time that we've actually had like 2 pro players in the pod. Which is cool, and especially from like different like tiers as well. Like Trust Me is on like one of the best teams in the world. So it was really interesting, at least for me in particular, to see his perspective on a lot of different stuff. Best part on the space, I agree. Shout out Coach Mills, Captain Coach. Hope you do more of this. Yeah, I come on every time they invite me. I wish you spoke deeper about supports. I can answer your question now if you'd like. Like, what do you want to know about supports? Up, Kamui? Do you think Cyclops will be broken when he comes out? Yeah, probably. Next season, 11 days, fire. So the Luna changes you mentioned about giving her more sustain. Yeah, so like, what the biggest thing that I didn't get to say in the pod that I wanted to was I think variety is the most important thing in the game. That's like the whole point of balance. Like no one wants a stale game where the same characters are hard meta for forever. That's like what makes people leave the game. Like we need every character in the game to be worth something in some situations. Now there's like a balance, of course. But yeah. So I think like nerfing Luna's damage and buffing her survivability would definitely be the way that I would go, even if it would like transition to changing the gameplay loop. I think changing the gameplay loop is fine. Like that should be the goal. We want variety. Made you think today? Fire. There's a different perspective, which is good. I just think there was a bit of inconsistency saying pro players should be role models and you openly miss his troop sniping trackers are skill sets he uses. Yeah, I mean, there definitely are skill sets, and like he is right in saying that like uh, it's an advantage. Yeah, I agree, Russian. Luna's just so overtuned in my opinion. I think Luna and White Fox are both like fucked. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and drop Captain Coach a raid, then I'm gonna go eat. chill for a bit, hit the gym, and I will probably be back on later tonight or this morning, I guess. But it'll be late. I woke up pretty late today, so yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate y'all so much. Thanks again. Love you guys. Yeah, see you, Delta.